जोरदार तालियों से आज हमारा मंच जो सजा है, शायद ही सूरत में ऐसी बात आगे कभी हुई है। एक ब्रांडिंग कॉन्क्लेव आज से 4 साल पहले हुआ था, उसके बाद आज ये हस्तियां हमारे बीच में हैं जो अपने कैरियर में इन्होंने बहुत सारे एंटरप्रेन्योर को स्केल अप किया हुआ है, बहुत सारी ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस को उन्होंने स्केल अप किया हुआ है। वो हस्तियां आज हमारे साथ है। हमारे साथ भरत दाभोलकर जी हैं, हमारे साथ डॉक्टर दीपा भाजेकर जी हैं, हमारे साथ सूरत में जिनको हमने गूंजते हुए, मुझे याद है कि जब सास भी कभी बहू थी, तब सूरत की कुछ ब्रांड टेलीविजन पे सुनाई देती थी, दिखाई देती थी। उनमें से एक विपुल सारिस, अनिल अग्रवाल जी हमारे साथ हैं। हमारे साथ मनहर भाई सांसपरा, यूरो फूड्स हमारे साथ हैं। हमारे साथ हमारे वेरी डायनेमिक एंड विजनरी प्रेसिडेंट रमेश भाई वगासिया जी हमारे साथ हैं डायस के ऊपर। हमारे साथ हैं राजेश भाई देसाई, हार्मनी मल्टीमीडिया। ये कार्यक्रम को जिन्होंने ड्रीम किया था और जिनकी वजह से शायद ये कार्यक्रम हो रहा है, वो हमारे साथी मित्र चैम्बर ऑफ कॉमर्स के हमारे, जिसको हम बोलूं, हम ज्ञानी पुरुष कहते हैं, जिनके ज्ञान का अवसर हमें बार बार मिलता है, ऐसे संजय पंजाबी जी हमारे साथ हैं। हमारे ऑल एग्जीबिशन जो हमारे चेयरमैन हैं, परसों उनका एग्जीबिशन हो रहा है। 2 एग्जीबिशन को एक साथ में सवारी कर रहे हैं। ऐसे बिजल भाई जरीवाला हमारे साथ हैं, हमारे साथ चिराग भाई देसाई हमारे साथ हैं, हमारे साथ ये प्रोग्राम जिनके अंडर में आता है वो शैलेश भाई देसाई हमारे साथ हैं। ये मंच हरा भरा इन व्यक्तित्वों के साथ सिर्फ नहीं है, ये पूरा ऑडिटोरियम, निखिल भाई ने यहाँ पे जो ब्रांड नेम सूरत के जाने माने लिए, वो सारे हमारे साथ हैं। जब भी हम प्रोग्राम करना चाहते हैं तो हम सोचते हैं कि हम विशिष्ट व्यक्तित्व को लेके आए, लेकिन उनके सामने ऑडियंस क्या हो सकता है। तो आज संपूर्ण संतोष के साथ ये कार्यक्रम हम शुरू कर रहे हैं। बहुत ही बढ़िया ऑडियंस हमको आज मिला है। सबसे पहले ये कार्यक्रम शुरू करते हुए हम दीप प्रागट्य के साथ हम कार्यक्रम को शुरू करेंगे। मैं प्रमुख श्री ऑफिस बेरर्स और हमारे गेस्ट को विनती करूंगा कि वो आगे आए और दीप प्रागट्य से इस कार्यक्रम की हम शुरुआत करें। The Southern Gujarat Chamber of Commerce and Industry, 84th year, or 84th president, having a wonderful vision and mission 84। 12,000 से ज्यादा हमारे मेंबर्स हैं। एपेक्स फ्री की वजह से हम 2 लाख थैंक यू सो वेरी मच डिग्निटरीज। हमारा प्रयास ये रहेगा कि ये कार्यक्रम को ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा समय हम हमारे आज के गेस्ट के लिए हम दे सकें। मैं विनती करूंगा हमारे विजनरी प्रेसिडेंट एंड अ मैन विथ अ बिग मिशन, आपके पास अगर कोई विजन है तो मिशन अपने आप बन जाता है। एक बड़े विजन और बड़े मिशन के साथ हमारे प्रेसिडेंट ने ये 84th ईयर ऑफ द सदर्न गुजरात ऑफ चैम्बर ऑफ कॉमर्स एंड इंडस्ट्री अपनी लीडरशिप ली है। एक जोरदार तालियों से हम स्वागत करते हैं हमारे प्रेसिडेंट रमेश भाई वगासिया से। मैं विनती करूंगा कि अब मंच आपका है जी।
આપણી વચ્ચે ઉપસ્થિત થઈ રહ્યા છે નવ ભારત સમયના નવ ગુજરાત સમયના ચીફ એડિટર માલિક અને આપણા સૌના માર્ગદર્શક અર્થશાસ્ત્રી અજયભાઈ ઉમટ આપણે જોરદાર તાળીઓથી વધાવીએ અને સ્ટેજ ઉપર એમને બોલાવીએ. પ્લીઝ સર. અજયભાઈ એવું બોલ્યા કે અહીંયા ક્યાં બેસાડ્યો મને. મને એવું લાગે છે અજયભાઈ કે વોટર ટેક્સ ઇટ પ્લેસ. પાણીને તમે ગમે ત્યાં ઢોળી દો ને તો એનું સ્થાન પ્રાપ્ત કરે. તો keynote speaker of the day of this program, eminent actor, Ed Guru, and a 72 years young man, भरत डाबोलकर जी, आपका हम तहे दिल से स्वागत करते हैं सूरत की धरती पर. At this age also he is a very young and enthusiastic and a very strong man who itself inspires us and motivates us in a different segment of business and industry. Harvard alumni and expert of the subject, दीपा बाजेकर जी, आपका भी स्वागत है. हमने दीप प्रागट्य करके आपको भी यहाँ आपकी हाजिरी को वेलकम किया है. यू आर मोस्ट वेलकम. अपनी साथे अपना चेम्बरना वाइस प्रेसिडेंट आदरणीय श्री विजयभाई मेवावाला, इमीडिएट पास्ट प्रेसिडेंट माननीय श्री हिमांशुभाई बोडावाला, नव गुजरात समयना माननीय श्री अजयभाई उमट, जे आवतीकाले SGCCA मिशन 84 अंतर्गत शुरू थवा जई रहेला सूरत इकोनॉमिक फोरमना एक प्री लॉन्च प्रोग्राम में मुख्य वक्ता तरीके अर्थतंत्र ऊपर अपनी साथे वातो करवाना छे. एवा अजयभाई उमट, राजेशभाई देसाई, अपना भाई श्री चिराग भाई, भाई हलेशभाई, ऑल एग्जीबिशन इवेंट चेरमेन माननीय श्री बिजलभाई जरीवाला, अपना मानद मंत्री माननीय श्री निखिल भाई खजांची, भाई श्री किरण भाई, અને આપણા સૌના મન હરી લેતા કાયમ માટે આપણને સૌને પ્રેમ કરતા અને આપણે જેને પ્રેમ કરીએ છીએ હરમેશ આપણી સાથે દરેક રીતે એવા માનનીય શ્રી મનહરભાઈ હાસપરા. અને આ પ્રેમને વિપુલ માત્રામાં કરવાનું મન થાય એવા વર્ષો પહેલાથી સુરતમાં આવીને સાડીના ક્ષેત્રમાં વિપુલ બ્રાન્ડથી જેમણે કામ કર્યું છે અને વિપુલ બિઝનેસ કરી રહ્યા છે એવા ભાઈ શ્રી અનિલભાઈજી અગ્રવાલજી, આપણા આમંત્રણને માન આપીને પધારેલા આપ સૌની સાથે આ કાર્યક્રમ જેમના માધ્યમથી સાકાર થયો છે, જે મહેનત કરી રહ્યા છે, જેમનું કન્સેપ્ચ્યુલાઇઝેશન છે એવા મિશન 84ના કોઓર્ડિનેટર માની શ્રી સંજયભાઈ પંજાબી, એવા જ સાથે ખભા ખભા મિલાવીને કામ કરતા ગ્રુપ ચેરમેન માનની શ્રી મૃણાલભાઈ શુક્લ, અમારા આદરણીય પાસ્ટ પ્રેસિડેન્ટ દિલીપભાઈ ચશ્માવાલા, અરવિંદભાઈ કાપડિયા, સૌ સિનિયર સભ્યો ગ્રુપ ચેરમેન શ્રી અને આપ સૌ આમંત્રિત મહાનુભાવો, આપ સૌનું હું હૃદયના ઉમળકાથી આ ચેમ્બરના પ્લેટફોર્મ ઉપર સ્વાગત કરું છું. આપ સૌને આવકારું છું, આપ સૌનું અભિવાદન કરું છું. Friends, it is said that if people like you, they will listen to you. But if they trust you, they will do the business with you. If people believe they share values with a company, they will stay loyal to the brand. Your brand is what people say about you when you are not in the room. આપણે ન હોઈએ ને આપણા વિશે જે બોલાય, ઇટ હેઝ સમ ઇમ્પોર્ટન્સ. હોય ત્યારે તો પ્રશંસા કરવા માટે બોલાય, પણ વ્યક્તિનું વ્યક્તિત્વ ખરેખર એ છે અને પોતાની બ્રાન્ડની વેલ્યુ એ છે કે તમે ન હો ને વાતો થાય. It is also said that a brand is a promise, a good brand is promise kept. As per the estimates, India has around 23.51 lakhs registered trademarks as on 2020. Since last 2 years, annually the trademark applications has reached to 4.5 lakhs annually. આપણી સૌથી મોટી જો બેદરકારી હોય ઇન્ટરનેશનલ લેવલ પર જોઈએ તો પેટન્ટ, બ્રાન્ડ, ટ્રેડમાર્ક અને ઇન્ટેલેક્ચ્યુઅલ પ્રોપર્ટી રાઇટ્સને રજિસ્ટર્ડ કરવાની છે. એ બાબતમાં જો જાગૃત થઈએ તો આવનારા સમયમાં ઘણું બધું સારું કામ બિઝનેસને ઇન્ડસ્ટ્રીના લેવલ પર, ઇન્ટરનેશનલ લેવલ પર આપણે કરી શકીએ એવું લાગે છે. આઉટ ઓફ ધીસ એન્યુઅલ ટ્રેડમાર્ક એપ્લિકેશન્સ, maximum number of applications, that is around 1/3, are from Maharashtra. Second comes Delhi, and the third comes Gujarat, which is filing 1/10 amongst all TM trademark applications. A brand is a tangible asset, and its valuation is often being recorded in balance sheets. The most valuable brand in India is TCS, with a market value of $42.87 billion in Indian terms. It is a 3.5 lakh crores of rupees. Second comes Reliance at rupees 65,000 crores. The combined market value of top 50 brands of India is around rupees 8.3 lakhs crores. The market value of the top 50 brands from India was around 4.5 lakh crores. There are very interesting insights in the domain of brand management. We have experts in the field with us. I am sure that today's program will enlighten us and help us understand the importance of developing a brand in our entrepreneur journey. My dear friends, આપણે જે દિશામાં આપણા બિઝનેસને લઈ જવા ઈચ્છીએ છીએ એ દિશામાં લઈ જવા માટે આપણને આંગળી પકડીને જો કોઈ લઈ જતું હોય તો ઇન માય હમ્બલ ઓપિનિયન ઇટ ઇઝ યોર બ્રાન્ડ strategy, and that we need to create, that we need to prepare, and that we need to execute, and thereby you can achieve the goal you have conceived in your mind. And therefore, SGCCI is always eager and very serious about our members and all the entire business and industry to be alert, to be aware of the market in which way it is going on. અને એટલા માટે ઇન્ટરનેશનલી આપણી બ્રાન્ડ, સુરત બ્રાન્ડ અને દક્ષિણ ગુજરાતના તમામ ધંધા વ્યવસાય ઉદ્યોગપતિઓની એક પ્રોડક્ટ એક સુરતની એવી બ્રાન્ડ બનવી જોઈએ કે જે ભવિષ્યમાં વિદેશોમાં પણ એની ડિમાન્ડ ઊભી થાય. અને એટલા માટે that we all collectively have to make some efforts. અને એના ભાગરૂપે SGCCI has envisioned, as Honorable Mrunal Shukla has said earlierly, SGCCI has envisioned a goal, envisioned a project of Mission 84. Mission 84 is nothing but a concept of at the eve of the 84th year of establishment of this organization. અને સુરતના બંદર ઉપર એક સમયે 84 દેશના વાવટા ફરકતા હતા અને એ સમયે ટેકનોલોજી નહોતી, કોમ્યુનિકેશનના કોઈ સાધનો નહોતા, છતાં પણ ઇન્ટરનેશનલ ટ્રેડ વોઝ ધેર ઇન હ્યુજ ક્વોન્ટમ, એન્ડ ધેટ વોઝ due to the spirit in the blood of the people of Surat and Gujarat and India. And that spirit we need to recommemorate, recollect, revive, and thereby in modern times today we need to have 84,000 crores of rupees of exports from this dharti. આ ધરતી ઉપરથી, આ સુરતની ધરા ઉપરથી ફરીથી એ જ વેપાર શરૂ થાય અને સમગ્ર વિશ્વમાં 84 દેશોમાં આપણી પ્રોડક્ટની નામના હોય એવું કરવા માટેની જરૂરિયાત ઊભી થઈ છે. ત્યારે આપણે 5 ટ્રિલિયન ઇકોનોમી બનવાનું જે સ્વપ્ન છે મોદી સાહેબનું અને $1 ટ્રિલિયન એક્સપોર્ટ્સ બાય 2027નું જે ગોલ મોદી સાહેબે આપણી સૌ સમક્ષ મૂક્યું છે એને એચીવ કરવામાં કંઈક નાનું એક પુષ્પ સ્વરૂપે આપણે કોન્ટ્રીબ્યુશન આપી શકીએ એ માટે આપણે પોતે પણ 84,000 કરોડના એક્સપોર્ટ્સનું ગોલ જે બનાવ્યો છે એને સાકાર કરવામાં બ્રાન્ડિંગ વિલ પ્લે એન ઇમ્પોર્ટન્ટ એન્ડ વિટલ રોલ એન્ડ ફોર ધેટ વી હેવ to get some insights from the learned and experts here. And I'm sure that we will get more and more for developing our brands worldwide. With this, I would like to welcome all the honorable distinguished guests on the stage and off the stage. And thank you very much.
थैंक यू सो वेरी मच प्रेसिडेंट सर। ये जो ब्रांडिंग कॉन्क्लेव है वो इस साल में होना, इसकी प्रतीति हमें सबको है, क्योंकि ब्रांडिंग की तरफ आप जिस तरह से अग्रसर हो रहे हैं वो एक बहुत बड़ी बात है। एक जोरदार ताली हमारे प्रेसिडेंट सर के लिए। नाउ मे आई रिक्वेस्ट अवर ऑफिस बेयरर्स एंड टीम टू फेलिसिटेट अवर गेस्ट। I request our President, Vice President, immediate past President, Honorary Treasurer and Honorary Secretary. We request our today's guest, Ed Guru, writer, actor, and a giant personality, Sri Bharat Dabholkar ji. I request President Sir to felicitate him with आपने इनको फिल्मों में देखा है, आपने उनको कॉरपोरेट में देखा है, कंपनी में देखा है, आपने उनको फिल्म के अलावा ड्रामा में देखा है। ही इज अ वंडरफुल एंड वर्सेटाइल पर्सनालिटी, भरत दाभोलकर जी। थैंक यू सो वेरी मच सर। ऑफिस बेरर को विनती करूंगा कि आप रहिए प्लीज। नाउ आई इनवाइट डॉक्टर दीपा भाजेकर, ICT UDCT एलुमनी, हार्वर्ड बिजनेस स्कूल। आपकी जर्नी में दीपा जी ने सैकड़ों से ज्यादा, प्लीज प्लीज कम फॉरवर्ड फॉर द फेलिसिटेशन। या दीपा जी ने कई सारे जो बिजनेस से रिलेटेड एंटरप्रेन्योर्स हैं उनको उन्होंने मेंटोरिंग किया है, उनको स्केलअप किया है। एक जोरदार ताली आपके लिए बनती है, उनको फेलिसिटेट कर रहे हैं। अनिल अग्रवाल जी को भी हम फेलिसिटेट करेंगे। विपुल सारीज, अ वेल नोन नेम। अब मैं विनती करूंगा मनहर भाई सांसपरा, यूरो फूड्स, आपका भी हम फेलिसिटेशन करके गौरवान्वित हो रहे हैं। अजय उमट जी, नव गुजरात समय के एडिटर, आपका भी हम स्वागत करेंगे। ना काले आपनी उपस्थिति अमने गौरवान्वित करे छे। अजय जी, जोरदार तालीओ वच्चे अजय जी नु आपणे स्वागत करिए। थैंक यू सो वेरी मच ऑल ऑफ यू। आज का ये जो उपक्रम है, ये विचार बीज जिनका है और ये हस्तियां इसी प्रोग्राम के लिए यहाँ पे हो सकती है। व्हाट, व्हाई एंड हाउ, ये सारी चीज़ों का जवाब एक ही व्यक्ति के पास है। मैं उनसे विनती करूँगा, हमारे ग्रुप चेयरमैन, हमारे मिशन 84 के कोऑर्डिनेटर और हमारे ज्ञानी पुरुष श्री संजय पंजाबी जी को अबाउट द प्रोग्राम।
थैंक यू। मंच पर और सभा में उपस्थित सभी महानुभाव, लेडीज एंड जेंटलमैन, आज जो ये प्रोग्राम जिस बैनर के अंतर्गत हम आज यहाँ पर इकट्ठे हुए हैं, वो प्रोग्राम का नाम जो टाइटल है वो एंटरप्रेन्योर्स फोरम है। और जो एंटरप्रेन्योर्स फोरम है वो किस लिए है और क्यों ये काम कर रहे हैं, वो जब तक नहीं समझेंगे तब तक ये सीरीज आगे बढ़ नहीं सकती है। तो ये जानकारी के लिए मैं आपसे एक प्रपोजल रख रहा हूँ कि भाई आज जो समाज में या तो जो सदर्न गुजरात चैम्बर ऑफ कॉमर्स एंड इंडस्ट्री रिप्रेजेंटेशन विद द गवर्नमेंट का काम कर रहे हैं, उसके साथ साथ व्यापार और उद्योग जगत के लिए अभी जो समस्याएं हैं, या तो ये समस्याओं का आगे क्या निराकरण हो सकता है, या तो आगे क्या फ्यूचर दिख सकता है और कैसे पिवोट करना है, उसके बारे में इतना ही ज्यादा चिंतित है। तो वो समझते हुए ये नाम एंटरप्रेन्योर्स फोरम रखा है। जब हम बात करें महाजन की और जब नॉर्मल टॉपिक निकलता है तो बिजनेसमैन वर्ड यूज होता है। तो ये प्रोग्राम है उस दिशा में है कि क्या अंतर है ये बिजनेस और बिजनेसमैन और एंटरप्रेन्योर के बीच में। तो जो बिजनेसमैन होता है वो नॉर्मली हर जगह प्रॉफिट ढूंढता है, हर जगह डील ढूंढता है, नाउ से 5 काम करना चाहता है। उसके सामने एंटरप्रेन्योर है, हर बिजनेसमैन एंटरप्रेन्योर हो रहा है। अगर आप ध्यान से देखेंगे तो मुकेश अंबानी आज से 5 साल पहले बिजनेसमैन कहा जाते थे, लेकिन अभी मुकेश अंबानी आजकल एंटरप्रेन्योर कहा जाता है। तो ये एंटरप्रेन्योर की जो जर्नी है और ये जो बदलाव है, वो बदलाव हम कैसे ला सकते हैं और चैम्बर के माध्यम से और ये प्लेटफॉर्म से ये बदलाव का कैसे स्वरूप निखरा सकता है, उसकी बात है। तो जब भी आप कभी भी एंटरप्रेन्योर्स फोरम की बात सुने तो नॉर्मली ये बात होगी कि ये बदलाव क्या है और ये बदलाव के लिए जो थिंकर है, जो विजनरी है, जिसको जो क्षेत्र के माहिर है, उनको हम बुलाकर उनसे सीखना चाहेंगे, उनके शिष्य बनना चाहेंगे कि आप हमें समझाएं कि हमारे से क्या गलती होती है, हम कैसे अपने आप में बदलाव करें, हम कैस क्या चीज करें जैसे हम बिजनेसमैन से एंटरप्रेन्योर बने। और ये जो पूरी घटना है, उस घटना का या तो ये जो पूरी सीरीज है, वो सीरीज ही एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप फोरम है। जो लोग मुझे जानते हैं, जो मेरे दोस्त हैं, वो काफ़ी अच्छी तरह जानते हैं। मेरी अभी तो जो कविता मैं दुष्यंत कुमार की बताता हूँ, आजकल मेरा प्रेयर जैसा ही हो गया है, जो आपके आपके सामने प्रस्तुत करता हूँ, उसमें कुछ जान एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप फोरम की रह हो सकती है। दुष्यंत कुमार जी कहते हैं कि हो गई है पीर पर्वत सी, पिघलनी चाहिए, इस हिमालय से कोई गंगा तो निकलनी चाहिए। मेरे सीने में न सही, तेरे सीने में ही सही, हो कहीं भी आग लेकिन आग जलनी चाहिए। प सिर्फ हंगामा खड़ा करना हमारा मकसद नहीं, पूरी कोशिश है कि ये सूरत बदलनी चाहिए। So with this theme we are trying to work, and what is the ask from you? The very simple ask is that whenever you listen the title of Entrepreneurship Forum, try to attend this program. This is about continuous learning program. This is about dialogues with the stalwarts of the industry. This is having a your curiosity to learn more about what is happening around that. We have to try, sometimes we try to call them and try to request them to narrate their the life journey. Probably आज दीपा जी वही करने वाले हैं, द टेक्नोलॉजी के जो फाउंडर हैं। वो लाइफ जर्नी से हमें समझ में आएगा कि इतना इजी नहीं होता है जो पाथ हम जिस पाथ पे हम चल रहे हैं, और ये हम सब मिलकर करेंगे तो शायद हम कुछ बदलाव ला सकेंगे। तो ये जो डिकेड है, अभी नलिन मेहता की वाइब्रेंट गुजरात के अंदर एक बुक थी, इसको टेकेड कहते हैं, यानी डिकेड को टेकेड कहते हैं कि टेक्नोलॉजी को अडेप्ट करना है। और उसी टेकेड का एक स्वरूप यह है कि हर लक्ष्मी को सरस्वती की जरूरत पड़ेगी और हर सरस्वती को लक्ष्मी की जरूरत पड़ेगी। तो ये संगम है सरस्वती और लक्ष्मी का, और एंटरप्रेन्योर्स फोरम के माध्यम से हम शायद वो समझना चाहेंगे कि वो सरस्वती क्या है। अगर हमारे पास लक्ष्मी है तो सीखने आना पड़ेगा, अगर हमारे पास सरस्वती है तो शेयर करने आना पड़ेगा। एंड दिस संगम इज नथिंग but an entrepreneurship forum. I think that you will be a part of this forum and you will continue your journey being with this part of this. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Sanjay ji. You rightly mentioned Entrepreneurs Forum Gateway to Next Orbit. ये फोरम का ये पहला प्रोग्राम हम इसमें निमित्त हुए हैं, हम साक्षी हुए हैं. आने वाला प्रोग्राम 16 मार्च, उज्जवल पटनी जी यही टाइम पे यही वेन्यू पे हमारे साथ रहेंगे. और ये मेकिंग ऑफ एंटरप्रेन्योर की ये जो जर्नी है, ये फोरम जो है वो फोरम सिर्फ यहाँ नहीं है, ये फोरम यहाँ भी है. हम आज ये सोच रहे हैं कि जो हम चाहते थे वो हमने आज पा लिया है. इतनी बड़ी तादाद में आप लोग ये फोरम में जो जुड़े हैं वो एक बहुत ही बड़ी बात है, जो हमारे लिए हौसला अफजाई के लिए बहुत कुछ है. अब मैं कमलेश गजेरा जी, ओके, मैं संजय जी से ही विनती करूंगा. नहीं, हमारे आज के जो स्पॉन्सर्स हैं उनका सही हो सर. ओके, Rajesh, I invite Rajesh Desai to say few words for our sponsors. Yeah.
Welcome to all. Are you all ready to witness an amazing session? Are you ready? Okay, I am introducing today's sponsor of this program. One is the Vipul Sarees. विपुल साड़ी आप सबको पता है सूरत की एक अग्रिम ब्रांड है, लेकिन शायद आपको ये नहीं पता होगा कि विपुल साड़ी इज द ओनली एथनिक वुमेन वेयर ब्रांड ऑफ इंडिया जिसने 50 साल कंप्लीट किए. ये एकलौती ब्रांड है जिसने 50 साल कंप्लीट किए हैं. और ये विपुल साड़ीज के बहुत सारे चीजें हैं, आप उनकी वेबसाइट पे जाएंगे और रिसर्च करेंगे तो बहुत कुछ पता चलेगा. We are very much thankful for the support extended by Vipul Sari and Sri Anil Agrawal ji. Thank you, sir. हमारे दूसरे स्पॉन्सर है यूरो फूड्स. यूरो फूड्स के बारे में आप सबको पता होगा ही. यूरो फूड्स मतलब चिप्स, नमकीन, जूसीज एंड बहुत सारे प्रोडक्ट्स. हमारे यूरो फूड्स के मनहर भाई सांसपरा हमारे बीच में है. और यूरो ग्रुप नॉट ओनली एफएमसीजी में है, दे आर ऑल्सो इन रियल एस्टेट, डायमंड, चैरिटी एंड बहुत सारी चीजों में इन्वॉल्व है. सो अगेन थैंक यू वेरी मच मनहर भाई एंड अनिल भाई, यूरो एंड विपुल. थैंक यू.
थैंक यू वेरी मच राजेश जी फॉर बीइंग सो प्रिसाइज. अब मैं हमारे द सदर्न गुजरात चैम्बर ऑफ कॉमर्स एंड इंडस्ट्री का एक बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट वर्टिकल है, वो है एग्जीबिशंस. हमारे एग्जीबिशंस में जो हमारे स्पॉन्सर्स हैं उनका भी हम फेलिसिटेशन करना चाहेंगे. मैं सबसे पहले इनवाइट करूंगा जैनम ब्रोकिंग लिमिटेड, उद्योग 2024 जो फ्लैगशिप इवेंट है उनके जो हमारे स्पॉन्सर है जैनम ब्रोकिंग लिमिटेड से, यहाँ पे कोई अगर उपस्थित हैं. केपीआई ग्रीन एनर्जी लिमिटेड, उद्योग 2024 एक्सपो के हमारे जो स्पॉन्सर है वहां से अगर कोई हमारे साथ हैं. ओके. जोटा हेल्थ केयर, टोटा हेल्थ केयर वो भी हमारे हेल्थ एंड वेलनेस 2024 एक्सपो जो परसों होने जा रहा है उनके हमारे स्पॉन्सर हैं. एलिया कमोडिटीज प्राइवेट लिमिटेड, फूड एंड एग्रीटेक 2024 एक्सपो के हमारे स्पॉन्सर, वहां से अगर कोई हमारे साथ उपस्थित हैं तो हम उन्हें मंच पे बुलाना चाहेंगे. ओके. Now I request our chairman for SBC, Chirag Bhai Desai, to introduce our guest, Dr. Deepa Bhajekar.
Dignitaries on the dais and off the dais. आज ये एंटरप्रेन्योर फोरम इसका पहला प्रोग्राम और पहले प्रोग्राम के पहले स्पीकर को इंट्रोड्यूस करना, इट्स रियली अ प्रिविलेज. जैसे कि अभी तक बहुत बार आपने नाम सुना है डॉक्टर दीपा भाजेकर. शी इज करंटली फाउंडर एंड मैनेजिंग डायरेक्टर ऑफ डी टेक्नोलॉजी, which is a company developing cutting edge technologies and commercializing them in the industry scale in collaboration. दोस्तों, ये शख्सियत के बारे में जब मैं पढ़ रहा था, बहुत सारी चीजें ऐसी थी कि जो आपको शायद डायरेक्टली पता नहीं हो, ऐसी इंस्टीट्यूट के साथ वो जुड़े हैं। लेकिन अगर मैं ये कहूं कि शी इज अ बोर्ड ऑफ डायरेक्टर ऑफ मैकडी, मैकडोनल्ड्स, तो शायद आप आसानी से उसके साथ कनेक्ट हो पाएंगे। ये इन्होंने 2000 के साल में एक अपना वेंचर शुरू किया, दैट इज अ फूड टेस्टिंग लेबोरेटरी, और उनकी मैनेजिंग डायरेक्टर जिनका नाम है माइक्रोकेम सिलिकर्स, और ये लेबोरेटरी में उन्हें इतनी शिद्दत के साथ काम किया कि वर्ल्ड की जो नंबर 1 ग्लोबल जायंट कहा जाए ऐसी टेस्टिंग लेबोरेटरी मैरिक्यूस यूएक्स न्यूट्री साइंस, जो कि फ्रांस में है, उन्होंने इनकी कंपनी के साथ टाई अप किया। ऐसा बड़ा काम उन्होंने फूड टेस्टिंग के एरिया में किया हुआ है। आप समझ सकते हैं कि फूड सेफ्टी स्टैंडर्ड्स एंड अथॉरिटी ऑफ इंडिया, FSSAI, जिन्हें हम जानते हैं, जो कि हर प्रोडक्ट के ऊपर वो एक लोगो हम देखते हैं, वहां पे इन्होंने 3 साल सेंट्रल एडवाइजरी कमेटी के रूप में और 3 साल इन्होंने वहां पे एक रिसर्चर के रूप में, यानी कि साइंटिफिक पैनल पे 3 साल इन्होंने काम किया है। इनकी जो काबिलियत है वो फूड क्वालिटी रिसर्च और नई टेक्नोलॉजी के डेवलपमेंट में ये बहुत माहिर है और काबिल है। इंटरनेशनली रिनाउंड अमेरिकन ऑर्गेनाइजेशन एसोसिएशन ऑफ ऑफिशियल एनालिटिकल केमिस्ट्स, इनकी जो भारत शाखा है वो उन्होंने शुरू की थी 2013 में। एज अ फाउंडर प्रेसिडेंट ऑफ दैट ऑर्गेनाइजेशन शी स्टार्टेड दिस। अगर हम इनके अचीवमेंट की बात करें तो वुमेन एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप एंड फर्स्ट जनरेशन एंटरप्रेन्योर का अवार्ड इन्होंने हासिल किया है आईसीटी में, आईसीटी यानी इंस्टीट्यूट ऑफ केमिकल टेक्नोलॉजी। डिस्टिंग्विश्ड एल्यूमिनाई का अवार्ड खिताब उन्हें मिला हुआ है, जो कि श्री मुकेश अंबानी जी को ये अवार्ड मिला हुआ है, वही अवार्ड इन्हें भी मिला, और ये हासिल करने वाली ये पहली महिला है जो आज हमारे बीच में मौजूद है। वुमेन एक्सेलेंस अवार्ड 2019 में इन दुबई इन कैटेगरी ऑफ साइंटिस्ट इन बिजनेस के कैटेगरी में उन्हें ये अवार्ड मिला हुआ है। जब इतना सब कुछ फूड और रिसर्च में किया है तो बहुत ऑब्वियस है कि उन्होंने पीएचडी इन फूड माइक्रोबायोलॉजी में 92 में उन्होंने पीएचडी किया, और आईसीटी में जब इन्होंने ये डॉक्टरेट का खिताब हासिल किया तो वो यंगेस्ट वुमन थी ये खिताब हासिल करने वाली जो आज हमारे बीच में उपस्थित है। एंड शी इज अ सीनियर एग्जीक्यूटिव लीडरशिप कोर्स इंडिया, इन्होंने हार्वर्ड बिजनेस स्कूल बॉस्टन से किया हुआ है। ऐसी मल्टी पर्सनालिटी, इतनी बहुत काबिल शख्सियत को आप लोगों के सामने प्रस्तुत करते हुए मैं बहुत हर्ष और खुशी महसूस कर रहा हूं। इन फ्रंट ऑफ यू डॉक्टर दीपा भाजेकर।
Without wasting a single minute, now I request, Madam, please, floor is yours.
Thank you. After such a glorious introduction, it's always tension to come and talk, right? Because he's raised the bar. So at the outset, I want to thank the Southern Gujarat Chamber of Commerce for inviting me here to speak this evening. मुझे थोड़ा सा डर लग रहा है दो चीज़ों के लिए, that I always make presentations in English, और मुझे 1 घंटे पहले बताया गया है कि यहाँ हिंदी में बात करनी है. So please forgive the mistakes that I make in Hindi. The objective is कि जो भावना मैं आप तक पहुँचाना चाहती हूँ और जो learnings आप तक पहुँचाना चाहती हूँ as a woman entrepreneur, even if those learnings reach you, please forgive the wrong Hindi language. I hope that's okay. Yes. And one more thing I want to say, that I see not even 10% of women in the audience. So I'd like all women to raise their hands and a big clap for those who came here. Okay. And if Bharatji and I come here to speak again, I want to see that quadrupled. Yes. And I think that is the Southern Gujarat Chamber of Commerce's responsibility to see that there are at least 5 times the women audience. Yes. Women in the audience next time. So, yes. And on the stage, absolutely. Am I short? Oh my gosh. I have realized I'm not tall enough for you guys, you know. Okay. So with these few words, I want to say namaste and good evening to members of this distinguished gathering, And it's an honor to stand before here and this dynamic Gujarati community. In the last 1 hour, I was in your president's office, and those people that I have met have done so brilliantly well that I am not very sure how much they are going to learn from me, but I hope there are some small and medium-sized enterprises here. So, मैं आज क्यों यहाँ आई हूँ? Every woman in the audience, your wives, your sisters, women who have come here, we are all capable, right? And there was one woman who made it from the business industry. And I want to inspire all of you here to see that this percolates down in your families and in your ecosystems. So I hope it's very, very clear. I'm not here to teach business. मैं actually सूरत की बेटी हूँ, you know, why? No, and in actuality, I am because my father studied and schooled in Surat. He studied in Gujarati, so he could read and write Gujarati very fluently. So we have a very, very close connection with Surat. So in actuality, that's the first. And you know, Gujarat is often referred to as the land of entrepreneurs because it has a rich tapestry of business models woven in the threads of tradition, adaptation, and visionary leadership. You know, I come from Maharashtra. You all know that Maharashtra, we are not business oriented. I mean, it's a well known fact. We always work for other people. Is that right or no? But when I look at Gujarat, I think business is in your DNA, it's in your blood. So I think we're a big clap for all of you here. I see two things in Gujarati businessmen. Businessmen, whether you're small or whether you're medium sized, there is no fear when you run a business. And that, I think, is the biggest asset of all of you people from this state. In Maharashtra, no, it is, and it's a big thing. In Maharashtra, we are always brought up cautious. बाहर जाके कुछ अलग करने की जरूरत क्या है, you know? Whereas in Gujarat, I don't see a single person who says, I want to get out and take a job. The first thing I hear, so this is huge, and a big round of applause for all of you here, because I think you guys are brilliant, brilliant business people. So with these few words, I want to tell you the one line that my father always told me, which motivated me to start my own business. The first thing is, my brother and I were both brought up like boys. Okay? जो freedom उसको दिया था, वही freedom मुझे भी दिया गया. So we could dare to dream equally. If he did well, I did well. And we are both first generation entrepreneurs. My father was general manager of Bombay Dyeing. And he worked with Nasli Wadia, the textile line, and grew up. हमारे घर में पहले दिन से मार्क्स कितने मिले, स्टडीज क्या करोगे, कितना आगे जाके पढ़ोगे, पैसा ये evil है, पैसा कमाना evil है. You know, Maharashtrian mentality is like this. But my father was different. And the one line he told us from the beginning was, Farete chare. You know this? Farete chare. The cow that travels gets the green grass. Am I right? And I must have heard this hundreds of times when I started my first company. So my first, being a doctorate in food microbiology, we reached the pinnacle of, and I was not the youngest woman PhD, I was the youngest PhD in the history of Bombay University from 1933. So I was only 23. It was not about man and woman. So I come from a family of academicians, you know, MTechs, doctorates. किसी ने business किया नहीं है, किसी को business का B मालूम नहीं था. So why did I start my business? Because I was very sure about one thing. किसी को yes sir बोलना नहीं था. Business का training नहीं था, business का grooming नहीं था. But that gut. So what is it that I had? And what is it that I didn't? And all of you here who are wanting to do something on their own, छोटा मोटा जो भी है, ये सुन लीजिए क्योंकि challenges सबके same ही होते हैं. और जो business बड़े businessmen इधर है, उनके भी challenges छोटे time के यही थे. So किसी को डरने की जरूरत नहीं है. I had no money, but a lot of self-belief. I had no infrastructure, but the ideas were great. I had no equipments. My first business was a food testing lab. I had no equipments. I had no infrastructure. एक 400 स्क्वायर फीट का खाली कमरा था और एक टेबल और कुर्सी घर से ले जाके 20,000 रुपया से चालू किया था. I had no staff, but 24 घंटे फ्री थे मेरे पास. No formal business education, only gut instinct. And all of you have it. All of you have that gut instinct. We are all born with it. Just use it. I had no fear and lots of passion. Himmat, बहुत थी. No brand. I was never born. I had no brand. I had no parents in business. And no person with me, just great vision and one woman. I was my peon and I was my boss. सवेरे 6 बजे मैं ऑफिस खोलती थी और रात को 10 बजे बंद करती थी. बिजनेस लाना कैसे है? पिताजी सिखा नहीं सकते, माताजी सिखा नहीं सकती, cousins nahi sikha sakte. They've never done it. So 6 in the morning to 10 in the night, I sat on the table and chair thinking, how do I start my business? Paise nahi the. And why I tell you this story, because I think it's everybody's story here. We all want to do it, isn't it? All of us want to do it. All of us want to be our own boss. If I could do it, so can you. So I just want to tell you the learnings along the way. My first business was a food testing lab. And before that, I had a few points to tell you. One thing, when I started my first business, I couldn't afford a secretary. My mother-in-law came and sat to take my phone calls. She's a doctor, anesthetist by profession, mother-in-law, I said. And she had a pilot's license for 10 years. And as a woman, to come into a family where a mother-in-law has flown a plane for 10 years and has run a medicine, and she told me, I will be your secretary, go ahead and start your business. So I think, and why do I tell this story? It's not that it's going to make you a lot of money, but I'm saying that this is the attitude which generates entrepreneurs. How many of us in our families would support daughters, let alone a daughter-in-law? I have come home at 10 in the night and 12 in the night and worked, all over. But she was one person who took my phone calls, and no one would do it. Why I say this is, what makes successful people successful? There are people, they say behind every successful man, there's a woman. So behind me was my mother-in-law, actually. So I think that's, that's very different. Okay, so I must tell you a story. When I started my first company, one of my cousins, a very smart MBA from college. I hope I'm not going too fast. Am I audible at the back? Yes. And mine is a very simple story. I don't have those stories of 50 years of tradition, but I have a very simple story. And my whole intention of coming here was to enlighten your hearts for those of you who want to do this. So when I started my enterprise, a smart MBA person visited my house and said, "Arey, आपको business चालू करना है, 20,000 रुपया लेके आप क्या business करोगे? Have you studied the website of your competitors?" And I'm sure all of you have gone through this, right? So I said, "No, I haven't." He said, "Please stop your business idea. वो website study करो, competition क्या कर रहा है, फिर आप चालू करो, SWOT analysis करो." Do you know what is SWOT analysis? How many of you here know what is SWOT analysis? Yes? Well, I didn't know it then. I didn't know what was SWOT analysis. I just had passion. I just wanted to do my own thing. And believe me, that night, I haven't slept the whole night, but I've never looked back from my plan. So I went ahead and started my business. वो बंदा मुझे बोला 2 साल में बंद हो जाएगा आपका बिजनेस. 2 साल के बाद वो मेरे ऑफिस में आया, बिजनेस में 10 लोग थे. 5 साल के बाद आया, बोला, अरे you're still running that business? Not bad. He visited my office. Very smart MBA, teaching in Symbiosis in Pune and many other management institutes. So, and I said, oh yeah, I'm still surviving at 5 years. And then at 9 years, I have to tell you, we were about 35 people and about 7,000 square feet. And when he visited my office, he said, not bad, huh? I'm glad you started it. Okay. And then the challenges that we faced when we were a small organization, I'll tell you, and all of you here who are small, I'm going to tell you his story and how he concluded after 15 years. But wait for that. The challenges that we faced. See, first, we were not a brand. We had no name. So why would employees stick with you? Problem number 1. Problem number 2, retaining capable manpower. Where was the money to afford market salaries? I couldn't pay what the others paid, and I'm sure all of you have these challenges. Matching market salaries and having the required sophisticated infrastructure. I started a lab where I didn't have a weighing balance because a weighing balance cost $1.5 lakh. So it was very difficult to retain manpower. So I had only myself and my mother-in-law to begin with. Okay. And we couldn't provide the range of services. So what did I do? I started solving problems on the shop floor. And all of you know, I had only 2 things free: 400 square feet, 1 table, 1 chair, and gray cells. And lots of guts and lots of hard work. I started solving problems shop floor पे. और हर एक problem का deal मेरा ऐसा था, अगर problem solve किया तो मेरा bill unnegotiated जाता है. That was the Gujarati learning, So my bill goes unnegotiated. And if I don't solve your problem, then my entire expense is free. And that is how my lab began. And by the time I had solved, and believe me, not a single problem, and 96 hours, problem will be solved in 96 hours. And trust me, there was not a single problem that I didn't solve in 96 hours. And at the end of 2 years, we had a well running lab with about 10 people, not very big, but 10. And as the business grew, one thing, some of the learnings that I have had, and I want you to remember this, that nothing beats great knowledge. And all of you here, you know, there were labs which had 28 branches, 28 divisions, big buildings. और जो वेबसाइट मैंने पहले दिन नहीं पढ़ी, वो पूरे 15 साल में मैंने एक दिन वो कागज खोला नहीं, एक दिन उनकी वेबसाइट पढ़ी नहीं. क्यों? क्योंकि अगर मैं उस दिन उस आदमी का सुन के खोलती थी वेबसाइट, उनके बड़े बड़े बिल्डिंग्स देखती थी और हंड्रेड्स ऑफ एम्प्लॉयज देखती थी, जिसके पॉकेट में 20,000 रुपया था, उसका फियर से वो बिजनेस वहीं मर जाता था. So for all of you, remember, please remember that there is always a gap. So learning number one, and what I did is a story I walked. So it's not a story I heard. That nothing beats great knowledge. No amount of infrastructure, जो भी आपके बड़े बड़े competitors के पास है, that cannot be beaten, that cannot overcome great knowledge. So if you have that great knowledge, you have it great. The second learning I read, no matter how big the organization, there is always a gap. There is always a gap in that organization. मैंने फूड टेस्टिंग लैब में वो गैप ढूंढ के निकाली. बड़े कंपनियों में जो फोन लेता था, उसको कोई इंटरेस्ट ही नहीं था क्लाइंट में. करेक्ट और नो? बिग सैलरीज, पॉश पीपल, मालिक नहीं था ना वो, उसको कितना इंटरेस्ट रहेगा? उसी गैप को मैंने उठाया. हर एक फोन कॉल का, हर एक क्लाइंट का प्रॉब्लम सुन के उनको ऐसी सर्विस दी कि 9 साल में द टॉप 50 कंपनीज इन इंडिया वर ऑन माय क्लाइंट लिस्ट. Name the company and we were doing work for them. So the moral of the story, हर एक big company में कोई ना कोई तो gap होता ही है. अगर आपको छोटे कंपनी को, I don't mean offense to any big companies and you're all great. I'm just giving my learnings. I don't mean to say big companies are bad, but they become bureaucratic. Too many people, too many layers. So always a gap. So जब आप छोटे होते हो, आप आपका solution customize कर सकते हो. जो बड़ा आदमी है उसके सारे सिस्टम सेट होते हैं. Find those gaps because you're not born in that league, right? So you have to do it. So learning number 2, I stuck to great quality, accuracy, credibility, integrity. एक दिन एक गलत रिपोर्ट, एक डेसिमल बदल के 1 रुपया लेके पैसे बदले नहीं मैंने. I suddenly found out that this is a corrupt industry. Many times people want report pass. As I was telling the aquaculture person I met today, the fish never, the aquaculture industry never cleared their quality. I didn't take any EIC samples. I just stopped the business because चोरी आप एक ही बार कर सकते हो. Then you're a chore, whether you stop it or you don't. So we never did wrong in business. And then the municipal inspectors who gave licenses, they also knew. They said, usi ka report leke aana. So they became my indirect marketeers. They are the ones who insisted. So our lab grew by customer to customer. Every customer brought 10 for me. Every single customer. So that was the great. The other challenges, what we did was we did quality. We maintained brilliant client relationship. हर एक client जो आता था उसको कभी छोड़ने नहीं दिया. उसको फोन जाता था, उसका भले बिजनेस छोटा हो बड़ा हो, all of it. टीम को एक साथ कैसे रखना, पिकनिक पे जाना, एक साथ खाना, ऑफिस में भेल बनाना. We used to have lots of team engagement. They all thought they owned the company, and in a way they did because we started from zero together. We were always, the other learning was, okay, after this, the world's number 1, 2, and 3 food testing labs approached me for a joint venture in my 9th year. So भगवान भी ऊपर से देखता है, जब आप इतना कष्ट करते हो, मैं तो उनके पीछे भागी नहीं थी. वो तीनों मुझे अक्टूबर ऑफ 2008, week 1, week 2 and week 4, तीनों कंपनी आई. मैंने ऊपर देख के बोला, भगवान ये क्या कर रहा है? इतने साल में मैंने कभी पूछा नहीं था ये, मुझे कैसे करना है भी पता नहीं. But for my staff who stood with me for 10 years and nobody left when we were nothing, for them I did a joint venture with the world's number 1 food and water testing lab. They were the biggest in the world. And I want the learning from this is, उन्होंने मुझे ढूंढ के निकाला, मैं उनके पीछे भागते नहीं गई थी. सो हर एक काम जो क्वालिटी का रहता है, जो सिंसियरिटी से होता है, वो रिकॉग्नाइज किया ही जाता है. भगवान बोलो, इंडस्ट्री बोलो, जो भी है, you can't fool them if you understand what I'm saying. So they found me. Now the learnings for all of you. You know, we all run our own businesses and we think we're doing a great job. Have I got 5 minutes? What is your time for me? Yes? 5 minutes or 10. I don't know what is your time limit. Okay. So whenever we run our businesses, and this is a big learning for all of you, we always think that we are doing the best job. Is that correct? हमको लगता है हमारा धंधा मैं बेस्ट चलाता हूँ और बेस्ट चलाती हूँ. अभी चलाती कम है तो चलाता हूँ से चलते हैं. But I'm saying the man, when I did this joint venture, एक बंदा उन्होंने भेजा यूरोप से और वो बंदा मेरे लैब में आके मुझे बोला, तब तक हम एक साल में 35 लोगों से 250 लोग हो गए. I had 18 offices in India and we really grew crazy amount. कभी कभी डर लगता था, am I capable of running such a big organization? Because I started as a small entrepreneur. और ये डर हर स्टेज पे आता है because we are not groomed. So 18 offices हो गए, सारे पोर्ट से हमारा inspection division चालू हो गया. We became really big. We became almost number 1 in the country with no formal sort of grooming. So they sent a person from Europe. And why I tell this really funny story, because the person came to tell me, I want to see how well you run your lab, how efficient it is. And I thought, अरे ये आके मुझे क्या सिखाएंगे? We know best. All of us think, right, as owners. उन्होंने एक नूडल डायग्राम ड्रॉ किया, मेरे लैब में आके 3 हफ्ता रहे, एक नूडल डायग्राम ड्रॉ किया, you know. And at the end of 3 weeks उन्होंने मुझे बताया, आपके लैब में हर एक केमिस्ट 2 किलोमीटर चलता है, तो आप एरोबिक्स के लिए उनको पैसा दे रहे हो. I said, sorry. Then he showed me for the noodle diagram how persons move in my office, and collectively I was paying for several kilometers of exercise. Then he redesigned my lab to such a level that every chemist had everything at hand's reach. They stopped walking and उसी staff के साथ output दुगना कर दिया उन्होंने. So I think for all of you, you know, you learn this. हमें लगता है हम best business चलाते हैं, ये सबसे बड़ा mental block है. I had it. I thought, what is he going to come and teach? But I'm saying that when I did the joint venture, what were my learnings? That when we are small, we are owners of our full business, we think we have reached the summit. We are not. Learn from these MNCs. Find the middle fulcrum, जो छोटा business का USP है, quick decision making. जो बड़ा MNC का bureaucracy है, हटा दो. लेकिन उनका जो systems और processes है, you merge this and find that fulcrum in the middle where you will use your common sense and you're going to put those systems. Because believe me, in India today, for every business, we think कि quality है, expense है. Am I right or no? कोई भी quality के लिए पैसा देने को तैयार नहीं है. जिस दिन आपको समझेगा कि quality में थोड़ा सा investment करके अपना business 5 times grow हो सकता है, that is the day when India's pace in the industry will lift. Trust in India will grow up. Because I know in my inspection division, माल एक दिखाते थे, बेचते थे दूसरा. So you know all of these things, they have to shift. You have to learn from these MNCs. They do very little. Then they never multitask. They cannot. But जो वो करते हैं, वो इतना perfectly करते हैं कि उनको doubt नहीं होता है. So my reason to tell you this, and the last is Harvard Business School. Company बेचने के बाद मैंने सोचा, दूसरी company मेरी technology company है. हमने 8 technologies की है, and all of them are almost global firsts. And I want to tell you, for the girl who started with 20,000 rupees in her pocket, we tied up with an $8 billion organization to tie up for a technology which is first in the world for breaking contaminants after agricultural crops are harvested. There is not one parallel technology in the world today that can compete. And this technology came to us and they requested us to tie up with them to take it to 37 countries. So I don't want to boast, but I'm saying that all of us have it within us. All of us have it to scale to that height. But the first vision increased when I did the joint venture. And after I did Harvard Business School, 72 CEOs and CFOs who have seen 20,000 crores plus when were in my class. I didn't even know how many zeros there were in 20,000 crores, you know. And when I did that course after 1 year, they teach you how to do business in 250 different ways. क्या चलता है, क्या नहीं चला, जो जल्दी भागा वो कैसे गिरा, जो स्लोली चला वो कैसे ऊपर तक पहुंचा. 250 केसेस आप करते हो, उसमें से मैं एक केस आपको बताऊंगी और मैं 2 मिनट में खत्म करूंगी. मिथुन संचेती, you know, Carrot Lane. You all are diamond people here. Do you know him? How many of you know Mithun Sancheti? Yes? We had him on a Harvard case study read by him. 1 करोड़ रुपया डाला उसने. जो बिजनेसमैन के सारे अनसोल्ड डायमंड्स एंड ज्वेलरी थे, वो सारे उन्होंने ऑनलाइन प्लेटफॉर्म पे सेल करना चालू किए. एंड स्लोली द प्लेटफॉर्म ग्रू. उन्होंने क्या किया, 3D वर्चुअल इमेजिंग किया, that a lady could try on that jewelry much before anybody thought of it. She need not go to the store and she could see 1,000 pieces that were available from all the stores. And when you heard him, he said, I did not invest 1 rupee beyond 1 crore. That was his sum total investment. Please Google him. He's a fantastic guy, totally down to earth. And Carrot Lane. And Carrot Lane's biggest USPs, जब उन्होंने malls में shops किए, he always took 2 sides open. He has a L angle store. यहाँ से भी visible है, यहाँ से भी visible. कितने आदमी वहां से चलते हैं weekends पे, उन्होंने count रखा, and then he fixed his stores. So why I tell you is, and Tanishq, you know, Tanishq has now invested into Carrot Lane, but he's one of the youngest and smartest business people I know. So with these very few words, I'm not very sure I have covered everything because in 20-25 minutes is difficult, but my humble thank you for listening. And I hope 2 things, please go home and please look at the little businesswoman who's in your wife or in your sister or in your daughter-in-law. And I really tell you, all of them are very, very capable women. And that cousin of mine who told me the MBA, smart MBA, when he visited me last, he said, now I quote you in my symbiosis courses that here's the exception who didn't know a day of business and she succeeded through all the odds. So with these few humble words, I thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so very much. So many learning lessons from career of your life relevant practical examples. Thank you so very much. एक बात आपने जो कही कि फीमेल मेंबर्स के लिए आपने हमारे बेटी बहन माता जी के लिए आपने कहा, वो तो मैडम 360 डिग्री बदलाव ऑलरेडी हो चुका है। प्रीवियसली बजाज स्कूटर वाले वो व्हीकल, मैं नाम देके बोल रहा हूँ, मुझे माफ करना, बजाज स्कूटर वाले जो व्हीकल बनाते थे वो लेडी के लिए ड्राइव करना बहुत ही मुश्किल था, क्योंकि उसको राइट साइड पर नमाना पड़ता था। तो लड़कियां ये कैसे चलाएगी, माताएं कैसे चलाएगी, वो बातें थी। वो 360 डिग्री बदलाव आज हो चुका है। वाई बॉयज शुड हैव ऑल दैट फन, वो पूरा सेगमेंट जो डिप्राइव्ड ऑफ था, वो सेगमेंट पे अभी काम हो रहा है मैडम। वाई बॉयज शुड हैव ऑल दैट फन, वो 360 डिग्री बदलाव हो ही चुका है। आपकी बहुत बढ़िया बातों में से 2 बातें बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट थी हम सबके लिए, वो 2 लेसन्स थे सेल्फ बिलीफ के लिए। और दूसरा एक लेसन आपने जो कहा वो 21st सेंचुरी में आवश्यक ही है, जो सीखना है, हर जगह से हमको सीखना है। ये 2 बातें बहुत ही इंपॉर्टेंट थी। और मैडम मैं आपको बताना चाहूंगा, ये दोनों बातें सूरत से, साउथ गुजरात से जुड़ी हुई भी है। या प्लीज।
I just want to tell you, my daughter-in-law is an architect. We are 3 women, all of who have run businesses, and we live together and we all support each other. So that's the last learning I would like you to take home with you.
So we not only clap for you, we clap for you, your daughter-in-law and your mother-in-law. बनता है। तो मैं ये कह रहा था कि सूरत के 2 बिजनेस टाइकून जो उनका एजुकेशन, फॉर्मल एजुकेशन कम है, लेकिन ये दोनों बातों से वो जुड़े हुए हैं। एक लर्निंग के बारे में आपने कहा, तो हरे कृष्ण एक्सपोर्ट करके सौजी भाई ढोलकिया को कौन नहीं जानता। उनका जो लाइफ फिलोसॉफी है, बिजनेस फिलोसॉफी है, वो है लर्निंग ऑर्गेनाइजेशन इज एन अर्निंग ऑर्गेनाइजेशन। इफ यू कैनॉट लर्न, यू कैनॉट अर्न। दूसरा आपने सेल्फ बिलीफ के ऊपर कहा, इनमें गोविंद भाई ढोलकिया उतना ही बड़ा नाम, श्री राम कृष्ण एक्सपोर्ट, उनका जो लाइफ फिलोसॉफी है वो आई एम नथिंग बट आई कैन डू एनीथिंग। अगर आपने गोविंद भाई ढोलकिया की ऑफिस या उनकी एम्पायर को, अगर एसआर के एम्पायर को आपने विजिट किया है, तो वहां पे ये प्रोमिनेंस आपको बहुत सारी जगह पे देखने को मिलता है। तो एक जोरदार ताली मैडम दीपा जी के लिए। और हमारा प्रयास ये रहेगा कि हम वक्ता की पूरी बात को न्याय देने के लिए उनसे क्वेश्चन आंसर करेंगे। तो अभी फ्लोर आपका है, आप मैडम को सवाल कर सकते हैं। 10 मिनट के समय में बुलेट क्वेश्चंस हमारे पास आने चाहिए और आंसर भी उतना ही शॉर्ट एंड स्वीट मिलेगा। नहीं, इनकी ये गुजारिश है कि એમને એવું કેવું છે કે આપણે એ પ્રમાણે જઈએ, એટલે પ્રમાણે આપણે કરીએ છીએ। आपके सवाल अगर आप प्रिपेयर्ड, हाँ, ओ गुड, आवर ग्रुप चेयरमैन दीपक सेठवाला, he will be opening with his question. Please come.
And my I would love all of you to please ask questions because I think no question is unintelligent. So please,
Madam, thank
please
you very
feel
much.
free.
Narrating wonderful story. This will definitely inspire. मेरा क्वेश्चन आपका ये है कि आपने ये बताया कि आप जब छोटी थी मतलब ग्रो हो रही थी तब आपने बड़ी कंपनी की गैप देख ली और उस पे काम किया तो आप बड़ी बन गई तो उस टाइम पे वो गैप का क्या हुआ?
Very, very good question. You won't believe it. There are three things I did. I never let the gap come. First, how? Because we put a team of 14 customer care executives who were trained to be polite and smart and welcoming and who had the time to listen. Number two. Number three, every complaint email that came from any customer had to be on my table when I walked into office. And the first 2 hours, I only dealt because, as a food testing, I have paneer, papad, pepper, basmati rice, and all of these 400 matrices we handled every month. गलती तो होनी ही थी because 600 different analytical methods हम करते थे. So chemist का गलती तो किधर होता है, bluish था, green था, titration गलत हो गया, solution गलत था, machine गलत. So first 2 hours, every single customer who had a complaint had a phone call personally from me right till the day I sold the company. So, yes.
Thank you very much. Next question. Yeah.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Group Chairman Anil Saraogi. Yeah, madam, I'm sorry. अनिल जी के बाद आप. अच्छा माइक अपने पास है अनिल जी. हाँ मैडम को दीजिए. अनिल जी आप उनके बाद पूछेंगे. हाँ.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
आपका नाम बताइए और फिर क्वेश्चन करिए.
Myself, Dr. Manshali. I'm MD Herbal Research Scientist, and we are having the manufacturing unit on biotechnology, fertilizer, as well Ayurvedic products and nutraceutical products. Dr. Deepa, it's wonderful listening you. The situation which you already passed, I am facing the same situation right now. In 2014, I got a youngest research scientist award from Trichur, Kerala. But it's very difficult to explain what we make, what we are working, because we are not from marketing department. Marketing, it's totally very challenging department. Apart from my research, I have a 17 years experience into research. For example, nano extraction technology, when I passed in Hong Kong 2014, it's very new for the town now.
That's right.
And now I'm explaining the people that this is the best technology rather than using any lid. So the challenge I am facing is, madam, how I will promote and justify my products into the market rather than the others. I'm not saying it's wrong, but how can I justify my one?
So you may not like my answer, but I'm going to give it anyways.
Right.
I have never strayed away from the core expertise that I have. And I believe that expertise that you don't have, don't try to cultivate it. Buy it and hire it.
Okay.
Why? Because if you're not a sales personality, like I am a sales
Absolutely.
personality, I was first sales, then scientist. And then when I started my company, I was both.
So you want to
Yeah, for 10
convey me,
years,
I
for
will
10
go
years, I had no
reverse.
sales guy on my team. We were all women. Oh, I forgot to tell you, we had no man on our payroll even to open the shutters.
Even
10
me too.
years.
Even in my organization too.
It's all.
We fight
So I'm
for
saying
women's.
one thing, because you will get frustrated with time.
Exactly.
If you are unable to cultivate an inherent characteristic that you don't possess, you will just get frustrated and you will give up. So learn, hire the expertise that you don't have. And I'll tell you my own example. My son is a CA CFA, loves money and loves business. And the only thing I hear every day is, Mom, you never loved money from the beginning, otherwise you would have been 10 times your size. My only thing was excelling and surviving and beating the best. I never bothered to get into the monies that I made. So my advice to you would be, don't try and cultivate what you don't have naturally, because you will get frustrated. Hire it. It's available at a price, and pay good dollar. If you pay peanuts, you'll get monkeys.
Correct.
No. And it's a huge.
Thank you, ma'am.
And this is something you must remember for all. Yes. Sorry.
Yeah. Just a moment, Anil,
Yes.
just a moment. Wherever, Bharatji, you feel that you also want to reply or you want to add something, floor is open for both of you. Right. Yeah, please.
Ma'am, here is a piece of information that you would love. I would like to connect your UDCT everybody connects with Mukesh Ambani ji, but here is some great entrepreneur in Surat who is a UDCT person called Aether Industries Limited, whose market cap is 12,000 crores of
Yes,
rupees.
big.
So there is yet another UDCT person connecting you with Surat also. So my question is that how your formative years at UDCT has helped you grow in your business also. So I like to connect with UDCT in a way.
So if you don't mind, I'm going to give you a story that's relevant for every parent
Yes,
in the
sir.
audience.
Yes, sir.
When I cleared my 12th, I was fed up of studies and I told my father I want to be a carpenter. Okay. Every father and my mother, sutar. My daughter wants to be a sutar, a carpenter. What rubbish. You know how mothers are. She raised through a fit. My father didn't say a word. After 3 days, he came to my room and said, if you've decided to be a carpenter, Deepa, then let's find the best carpentry institute in the world. And he did not stop that idea from brewing. Why I say this is when you are taught to grow up voicing your ideas, the fear of voicing an idea is already dead. It's never given birth. You understand? So you start questioning. And I always knew I wanted to be my own boss. I've never been a yes sir person. So you see that inherent characteristic you recognize as you grow, right? So that was always there. But the grooming, and why I tell every young parent here, old parent here, please listen. 90% of the children who come to take counseling from me are telling me, please tell my father outside, I don't want medicine. I want to be an architect. But the parent is trying to fulfill their unfulfilled dreams to the children. That's not how children become successful. Yes.
I don't want to become yes, sir. Atmanirbhar Bharat. Next question. Yeah.
Yes, please.
Yeah, please.
Jai Hind, Dr. Deepa ma'am. I'm Captain Meera Siddharth Dave. I'm a retired army officer. And I very much agree to what you first started your note with, that you need to see a lot of female out here. I also second that, and I also second ma'am you as well.
Yeah.
But I'm a retired army officer and I've studied from IIM Ahmedabad after coming out from the army.
Wow.
Have reached to the corporate levels and I have my businesses currently. And I can always assure you one thing, this is a comment which I want to make, कि यहाँ जितनी भी महिलाएं हैं, भले अभी नंबर में कम है, but they are the most unique and the most talented female out here. So many
We clap for you.
congratulations to all. And I'm sure that you will find many more next time. Thank
So
you.
my first salute to you for coming from the army. Because hats off. For a woman to stand up and say that and start a business after that doing IIM. I think she's brilliant. We should have her as a
ये
speaker.
पूरा हॉल बहुत ही गौरवान्वित है रिटायर्ड आर्मी ऑफिसर से. Thank you.
Yes.
Please.
Hi, it was so nice listening to you. Lot of learning. I think I've typed most of it, and I'll apply. I'll try to apply because learning is easy, education is very difficult. So I'm Dr. Uma Arora. I'm a counselor, educator, author, and a book entrepreneur, which is a very unique place because it's very difficult to sell books in Surat. But I'm trying my best and I'm beginning. And it's my first, I've been member of Chamber of Commerce for past 13 years. 13 years ago, I became a member because I really wanted to export something. That time I was in textiles. But because of COVID, it didn't work. So I shifted to writing books and I'm quite successful. I published a few of them. And now my biggest challenge is to sell books, especially in Surat. And there are a lot of fears. As you mentioned, there are always fears when you grow. I just want to know how you overcame and how you tackled those fears. Yeah.
So I have a very simple methodology. The problems are never going to go. So if plan A doesn't work, B does. If B doesn't, C does. If C doesn't, D does. And then E. And if you reach Z, just come back to A1, B1, C1. There really is nobody and no advice that can resolve a problem that you are facing. It has to be your mind. And believe me, there is always a solution, because I have run by the motto that if there is a scientific solution, my brain will find it. This is the motto with which I ran. I'm the best. So you have to believe that if your book is worth, and if you believe in what you wrote, then there is a way. You have to just keep on trying strategy 1, strategy 2, strategy 3, and then figure out. And one day you will get your break.
Wow.
That's how life always is, And God has always another plan. So don't ever think the door is closed.
Thank you so much.
So nice. सवाल से ज्यादा छोटे शब्दों में जवाब होता है. 2 questions, last 2 questions, one from this end, one from this end. आपका सवाल आखिरी होगा. Yeah.
Hello, good evening. My name is Nishant. I am member of SGCCI, and I have to ask the question because I'm branded here to ask questions. So we are a couple of people here who will be scolding me if I don't ask. So my question to you, ma'am, when you said that you started with that 400 square feet thing, you were best at your research and all. But when you talk about the team, I really appreciate that, and I want you to address the audience here because you talk about the concept of hiring people smarter than you. And very sorry to say, but we don't have that mentality over here to hiring people smarter because it is hard to deal with it. Like you have been good to your play, but your team, and it's a very important part. So would you just please throw light on that because you got a very good point. When even I think that there could be people in my team who can do better than me in this particular domain also, but could I be in
The question is, would you have the courage to accept
Absolutely,
it?
absolutely,
That's the problem. No. Would you have the courage to accept it? So if you've seen my 4-minute video, I don't know whether you've seen, there's a power talk, Dr. Deepa Bhazekar, and I'm wearing a pink jacket and talking. All of you, please listen to it because it's extremely inspiring. So if you hire people smarter than yourself, you grow faster. So your goal and objective has to be clear. Are you proving a point how clever you are, or are you growing a company to make money? Once you're clear on this conflict in your head, you will hire people smarter than yourself. Because if you're out to prove to the community and to your peers and to your friends that I could do it, then you're not going to hire people smarter than yourself. Because you have to learn to take a back seat, because they will be smarter. So the conflict is when your goal is not clear. So if your goal is clear, the conflict should dissolve. Yes.
Now
Anybody else?
last question from Sanjay Punjabi.
You just say that.
नहीं आपको माइक्रोफोन है लोगों को
Okay. Just request Deepaji that how you are associated with McDonald. Can you please narrate that?
So I was the one and only lab that McDonald's used for the entire 15 years that they were in India as a company, and we partnered with them for quality. So they came to me when I was 5 people, and they never left till I sold my company. And so that's how. And then when they wanted a director, women directors are now required on many boards. So I come with the required knowledge. So that's how I'm a director on the board. So that's it. And I also worked with Pepsi, Nestle, Coke, Tata Global Beverages, all Tata companies. So I had the best of brands, Cadbury's, Kellogg's, all of them. So yes. So I hope that answers you. It's credit.
A round of applause
trust.
for Dr. Deepa Bhazekar. Thank you so very much. Now may I invite
Yes.
Rajesh Desai to introduce our worthy guest, जिनकी हम राह देख रहे हैं, भरत जी को इंट्रोड्यूस करने के लिए मैं राजेश जी को इनवाइट करूंगा.
Hello, everybody. Before I start, the woman who would like to publish the book, you can connect me. We are in publishing and had published a lot of books from this region. Okay, now it's a time to introduce a versatile personality who has studied economics, studied law, done his MBA. He has worked and created a brand called Amul, Amul Butter, Fruity, Appy, Thumbs Up, all Tata Tea, Tata Namak, Good Night, Heat, Bank of India, State Bank of India, Exim Bank, LIC, L'Oreal, Nestle, and he is the person who has received Golden Trophy of Advertising for consecutive 14 years. He has written and directed 33 English plays. One of the longest running play was Bottoms Up. You must have heard the name of that drama. He has acted in Hindi, Marathi, Tamil, Telugu, Malayalam, Bhojpuri films. He has directed a music video on poem of Atal Bihari Vajpayee. And last but not the least, in 2014, he has created a wonderful line, Ab Ki Baar Modi Sarkar. So let's welcome Mr. Bharat Dabolkar.
फ्रैंकली मैं क्या बोलूं, अभी दीपा जी के बाद में बोलना मुश्किल है. I made a mistake when I agreed to speak after her. I should have spoken before you. But I must honestly tell you that शुरू करने से पहले कि I have 3 problems. पहला प्रॉब्लम ये है कि आई एम अ वेरी नर्वस स्पीकर. अगर मेरे सामने 50-60 लोग हैं तो मैं कॉन्फिडेंटली बात करता हूँ. इतने लोग होते हैं तो आई गेट वेरी नर्वस. In fact, I carry with me 2 slides which, can we have the slide? Not this one, but I carry with me 2 slides which show you how nervous I am when I am asked to speak. The first one says, if you doubt the concept of eternity, make a 5-minute speech. And the second one says, there are 2 times in life when you're totally alone, just before you die and just before you make a speech. So whenever I'm called to speak, this is how I speak. But now I must tell you that Deepaji's talk was the main course. That was the thali of knowledge. I'm just the dessert. So just enjoy the little bit. I'm not saying anything knowledgeable that she did. But let's begin. That I have this. The second problem that I have is I have spent many years in advertising, and I'm always embarrassed when I'm called to speak like this. I'll give you an example. कुछ साल पहले एक lady आई थी मिलने. I think she was the secretary of the Indo-American Society's Ladies Wing, and she came and said कि Mr. Davolkar, we want you to come to our club and talk to our members on advertising. तो मैंने उनको humbly पूछा कि आप मुझे क्यों बुला रही है? There are so many other people who are better than me in advertising, who are better speakers. Why don't you call one of them? I finished saying it. मेरी बात खत्म हो गई, and I realized कि आपके मुंह पे औरतें कितनी मुंहफट से बात कर सकती हैं. The lady said, I know, Mr. Davolkar, there are people who are better than you in advertising, who are better speakers, but most of them are out of town. और लास्ट मिनट कोई मिल नहीं रहा हमको, तो आप इस साल आप आइए, अगले साल हम अच्छे स्पीकर को बुलाएंगे. So when I was invited, I haven't asked them why me. I know why me. Don't tell me. The third problem that I have is मैंने 30 साल के ऊपर advertising में गुजारे हैं, and there's one concept that gets drilled into our head, which is a concept of target group. Who are you talking to? कि हमको ये सिखाया जाता है कि as important as what you are saying is who are you saying it to? Because you could say the most brilliant thing to a wrong audience and it doesn't work. Even this I learned in an embarrassing way. मेरा जो अभी जिक्र हुआ कि मैं had done a play called Bottoms Up, तो उसमें बहुत सारे skits थे और एक front curtain joke हम करते थे 1 मिनट के लिए, ताकि मेन एक्टर्स को कॉस्ट्यूम चेंज करने का टाइम मिले वगैरह. तो शुभा खोटे and Sunita Rao, they were playing a mother and daughter going to the zoo. And the mother is asking the daughter, ki, dear, are you enjoying your visit to the zoo? And she says, yeah, mommy, lovely. Look at all those elephants and giraffe and monkeys. But maa puchti hai, is there any question for mommy? And the daughter says, some 13, 14-year-old daughter, she says, mommy, tell me, how do lions make love? And the mother looks very embarrassed and says, how do lions make love? I don't know, darling. All your father's friends are Rotarians. And हमने ये 200 शोज किए इसके, फुल हाउसेस. हमेशा हमको फैंटास्टिक लाफ्टर मिलता था. हमारा नरीमन पॉइंट में एक शो था, फुल हाउस, टाटा थिएटर में. शुभा जी एंड सुनीता went out and did the joke, and there was pin drop silence. I couldn't figure out क्या हुआ था, till the producer Jayan Gandhi came running and said, are you mad doing this joke here? This show is sponsored by the Lions Club of Nariman Point. That's why nobody laughed. So that time I realized that I must know who I am talking to. So when I came here, I didn't know who are the target group that I'm going to talk to, so I didn't know what to say. So we'll just begin generally. Why has that thing gone up from there? But it's not on that. Now, this is a picture that I always carry when I'm asked to speak, because it's always, even if you're feeling sleepy, if I'm called to speak after lunch, this picture wakes up everybody. Now, this is not the real one, this is me. In my play Bottoms Up, मैंने एक skit था उसमें कि as a compare I used to come and say कि पहले ज़माने में अलग-अलग levels थे authorities के, normal courts थे, फिर high court था, फिर supreme court था. अब और एक level ऊपर बढ़ गया है उसके, which is Arnab Goswami. Arnab Goswami decides what's good for the nation now. So he's above Supreme Court. तो मैं ये बोल के अंदर भागता था, and Anant Mahadevan would come as Arnab Goswami. Then he would call Sonia Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi, Kejriwal. I got 2.5 minutes. And the 2.5 minutes, I used to get into this costume and come out. And I had a pretty girl on my arm. And we had Rahul ji asking Sonia ji, ki, Mummy, who's that girl with Mr. Modi? And she would say, for last 3 years, you've been hearing about the Gujarat model, Gujarat model. Who do you think the Gujarat model is? That is the Gujarat model. So we used to do this in the play. But let's get down to why are people talking so much about creativity? That is one question everybody asks us. Ki, marketing is a simple job. Why do people have seminars on creativity? Why are you people celebrated as creative directors or guys who create brands? And I said, there's a simple answer. You know, earlier, if you wanted to wash your hair, there were maybe 2 shampoos in the market. So all you had to tell a person was, ये shampoo है, you can wash your hair with, इसकी price इतनी है, इस दुकान में आपको ये मिल सकता है, वहाँ जाके खरीदिए. As simple as that. Now things have changed. Now if you go to a shop, you don't find those 2 shampoos. You find 300 shampoos. And each shampoo is different. One shampoo says shampoo with lemon, one says shampoo with lime, one says shampoo with herbs, shampoo with vitamins, shampoo with fruitamins. I'm so happy that all these shampoos are so damn good that rather than putting them on your head, you're better off drinking them if they are so healthy. But when you go to a shop, you realize that you don't get normal shampoos anymore. You get a shampoo for normal hair, shampoo for dry hair, shampoo for dry hair with dandruff, shampoo for oily hair, shampoo for more oily hair. And you're standing in a shop and wondering, what exactly have I got? Is it dry hair with dandruff or is it extra dry hair? You worry so much your hair starts falling. You don't need a shampoo. But you need advertising that can differentiate between this. I tell people even this happened to me because I misread one ad. I saw a shampoo which said all clear. And I bought it and this is what happens. So don't believe in advertising. But what matters, I'll tell you why advertising and marketing for every brand, small or big, is important because image matters. People are selling products world over with only the image. There was a survey done in the US. You know, they did a blind test. You know what a blind test is? They don't show the brand name. You put a Coke in a bottle, in a glass, and Pepsi in a glass. You don't show the brand names. And you make people drink it and say, which one is which? Which one do you like? And 68% people could not tell the difference between Coke and Pepsi in America. I think 44% people could not tell the difference between Coke and Sprite, which means that they are spending millions of dollars world over only to build an image. There's no difference in the product. If you're a Coke drinker, you will not shift from Coke to Pepsi. It's an identical product, minor taste difference. A Pepsi drinker feels Pepsi is for the younger people, so I would not drink a Coke. That's for older people. He would walk for 3 shops before he finds a Pepsi. And it's all the image. There's nothing in the product that is different. And this is where advertising and communication comes in, no matter what your product. The trouble with people, as you were talking about competition, that you didn't have because you had extra unique technologies. But all of us who are working with other brands, the problem that we have is we don't know who our competitor is. In the olden days, competition was easy. It was, I said, it was like a boxing match. कि आपके सामने एक boxer है, you know this is his weakness, this is his strength. You practice to defeat him. An example of that was Sony Walkman. You remember Sony Walkman? There was a little box. You put a cassette inside and listen to music. They had 2 competitors. They had Panasonic and they had the other one. And they all kept on looking at each other. Panasonic kept on watching what is Sony doing and improved their product accordingly. Sony kept on watching what is Panasonic, and they kept on doing that. Take another example of Kodak film. They had Fujifilm and Agfa. Kodak was looking at what is Fuji doing and trying to improve their product. Your competition is no more a boxing match. It is now a billiards table. In billiards, you hit that white ball, it will go and hit a red ball, that will go and hit the bottom, then it will go and hit the yellow ball. You don't know where the competition is coming from. Let's carry the same examples. When Sony was looking at Panasonic, they were not looking at a company called Apple. With Apple or Samsung, these are, Apple was a computer company. They didn't realize that Apple would come up with a thing called iPod, which will be smaller, which will have more songs in it. And that iPod wiped out Sony Walkman. Why would anybody buy a Sony Walkman if you can get the same thing in a small little thing and have more songs on that? Similarly, when Kodak was looking at the other Agfa and Fuji, they were not looking at Samsung. They didn't realize that mobile phones one day will have cameras. And unless you're a professional photographer, you will not need to buy a camera and have a film, because everybody had the phone in their hands. So these companies got wiped out not because they were doing something wrong. They did not realize how the world was changing and how competition was coming from areas which you didn't even expect it to come from. Which is why when you are doing any business, आपका छोटा business हो, बड़ा business हो, ये बहुत जरूरी है कि आप be very alert कि कहाँ से competition आ सकती है. What will people buy that they were not buying right now? And that is why you need to be creative. And the most creative people, मैं judge करके जाता हूँ बहुत स्कूलों में या colleges में, and the youngsters are most creative. जैसे लोग बढ़ते जाते हैं उम्र में, I think their creativity gets less and less. They start getting aware of other factors. So here it says a creative adult is a child that survived. If you can keep that innocence of a child inside you, you'll always be more creative than a grown-up person. And we forget that all the time. Which is why what you need to do is innovate, innovate, innovate. If you want to survive, आपका छोटा business हो, बड़ा business हो, आपको survive करना है, the only way to do it is innovate. Do something different that nobody else is doing. I'll give you one more example. Now, there are two things which are roadblocks to innovation. अगर आप innovate करने जाओगे, कोई बोलेगा कि मेरे पास एक नई idea है, there are two things that people will tell you. One is experience. हमने ये try किया है, चलता नहीं है. Don't even try it. Expertise. हमने पहले किया है. We have been doing this for the last 25 years and it hasn't worked, so don't even attempt it. And knowledge. मैं ये कंपनी में 20 साल से हूँ, ये कंपनी के बारे में मैं सब कुछ जानता हूँ. Don't come up with some fancy ideas, they won't work. The moment you start saying that, you stop innovation. You stop youngsters from coming and saying, मेरे दिमाग में एक भन्नाट idea है, जो शायद चल जाएगी. And you say, नहीं चलेगी नहीं, let's not take a risk. You kill innovation by doing this. You kill innovation by saying, expertise है, knowledge है, don't try something new. जो चल रहा है उसे चलने दो. You can't improve your company, your product line, your success if you keep doing this. I'll give you an example. We'll end up doing a Me Too. We dress like everybody else. We want to behave like everybody else. Me Too means there's not that bad Me Too that people acting fresh with actresses. There's a good Me Too. But ये Me Too का मतलब ये है कि मुझे औरों के तरह बनना है. मुझे उनके जैसे दिखना है, उनके जैसी बात करनी है. And that is the wrongest thing you can do. Because then you get lost. There are 20 people who dress similarly, talk similarly. Why would anybody remember you? Why would anybody buy anything from you? I'll give you one more example. It says, don't be afraid of being different. Be very afraid of being the same as everybody else. ये पहला rule है marketing का. Don't do what everybody else is doing. कि ये market leader है, he is doing this, so I must also do the same thing. If you do this, why would they come and buy from you? They would buy from the market leader. Unless you do something completely different. I'll give you a funny thing. I use a word called unbelong. Don't belong. When I go and talk in management schools, I tell them कि आप 50 students हो यहाँ पे, आप यहाँ से निकलोगे, you'll dress similarly, you'll all come from the same institute. Why would a person hire you? If you tell them I come from Bajaj or I come from IIM, why would they take you? There are 50 other people from your class who are the same. They have the same knowledge. हम आपको क्यों hire करेंगे? Don't belong to your peer group. Unbelong. I'll give you a funny example of unbelonging. You know, at an early age, मुझे ये समझ में आई कि no matter how rich I become, I can never afford a Rolls Royce. Rolls Royce, second hand Rolls Royce की कीमत मेरे ख्याल से कुछ 7-8 करोड़ की है. तो मैंने सोचा कि अगर मैं बहुत पैसे कमाऊंगा तो I can never afford a Rolls Royce. I can afford a BMW, I can afford a Mercedes. लेकिन हर second गाड़ी Mercedes होती है. There's nothing different in that. The closest I have come to a Rolls Royce is एक बार बम्बई के गवर्नर्स हाउस में एक फंक्शन था, वहाँ बुलाया था मुझे, और वहाँ पे लॉर्ड माउंटबैटन की गाड़ी खड़ी थी, रोल्स रॉयस. एंड नोबडी वाज अलाउड टू गो नियर दैट कार, बट जो हवालदार था उसने मुझे पहचाना, तो बोला जल्दी से आके उसको टच करके फोटो ले सकते हो. नो, दैट इज द क्लोजेस्ट आई हैव कम टू अ रोल्स रॉयस. I touched a Rolls Royce, took a quick photo and left her. तो मैंने कहा अगर if I can't buy a Rolls Royce, but if I buy a Mercedes, I'll get lost. So why don't I do something completely different? So I went and bought an auto rickshaw. From a second-hand dealer in Mumbai, I bought a 17,000 rupee auto rickshaw. I painted that. I'll show you the picture of that. I painted that silver. I opened it up. And there's an interesting story. I bought this. I got a license for driving this rickshaw. Bombay में मैं रिक्शा 14 years I've been driving this. मेरा बम्बई के वर्ली में एक घर है. तो मैंने एक बैंकॉक से एक हार्ले डेविडसन का स्टिकर लिया और उसको वर्ली डेविडसन लिखा उसके ऊपर. तो my auto rickshaw is called Worli Davidson. और बम्बई में नेवी नगर है, वहाँ पे the top brass of navy and army come and stay there, generals and admirals वगैरह. And उनका एक beautiful hall है, ऐसे ही hall है उनका वहाँ पे. And every year they call a person, they have a Admiral Soman Memorial Lecture. And हर साल किसी को बुलाते हैं बाहर के, come and talk to these top brass of army and navy. तो एक साल मुझे बुलाया था. तो they said कि Sunday morning का function है अपना, 10 बजे का function है, please come on time. I said, I'm never late. I'll reach by 9:30. They said, no, you can't do that, sir. You can't reach early. We have a protocol. कि जब सब जमा होते हैं वहाँ पे, admirals उनकी wives, generals उनकी wives, तो they are having tea. तो हम लोग हमारे motorcycle riders bring in the chief guest. वो स्टाइल में आते हैं वहाँ पे. तो आप कहाँ से आ रहे हैं? मैंने बोला कि मैं चेंबूर से आ रहा हूँ मैं. तो उन्होंने कहा आप रीगल थिएटर पे खड़े रहना कुलाबा में, हमारे राइडर्स वहाँ पे आएंगे, आपको ले जाएंगे. तो मैं रिक्शा में गया वहाँ पे. तो मैंने वहाँ पे फ़ोन किया, वो कमांडर वासन करके थे. I said, sir, I am here. He said, my riders are waiting there. आप कौन सी गाड़ी में हैं? I said, मैं रिक्शा में हूँ. नहीं सर, जोक मत करिए, ऐसे कौन सी गाड़ी है आपकी? I said, मैं आपके राइडर्स को देख रहा हूँ. मैंने उनको हाथ किया. तो मैं उस फंक्शन में गया, मेरे सामने 2 वाइट यूनिफॉर्म्ड मोटरसाइकिल राइडर्स, वो फ्लैग वगैरह उनके चलते हैं, तो मैं पीछे रिक्शा में जा रहा था उनके. आफ्टर माई टॉक गॉट ओवर, मुझे 1.5 घंटा वहाँ पे रुकना पड़ा, क्योंकि हर एक एडमिरल को उसमें फोटो लेना था. और वो लोग, as ma'am will know, who's come from the army, that they're disciplined people. वहाँ गर्दी नहीं करते वो सब लाइन में खड़े थे. The admiral would sit in the car, and then the rickshaw, his wife would sit at the back. Then wife would sit in the front, the admiral would sit at the back. 1.5 hours this went on for. I said, अगर मेरे पास Rolls Royce होती है, कोई नहीं करता. Rickshaw, so this unbelonging has these benefits. And creativity has no price. It's very cheap. This cost me 17,000 rupees. And it got the top brass of Army and Navy waiting for me in 17,000 rupees. Now, this is a classic ad I had found. How in advertising you have to appeal to the heart, not the brain, most of the time. Here are 2 examples यहाँ पे. तो left का है, एक लड़का lift ले खड़ा है वहाँ पे, which is sales, appealing to the head, and he's saying to Jacksonville. उसके हाथ में एक board है. He's saying to Jacksonville. He wants a lift to go to Jacksonville. Now, nobody will give him a lift because you can't trust him. ये कौन होगा? He can be a robber. ये कुछ गुंडा हो सकता है. Why should I give him a lift? Same guy, dressed the same way, changes the board, and instead of saying to Jacksonville, he says to moms for Christmas. मैं मेरी माँ के घर पे जा रहा हूँ क्रिसमस के लिए. Everybody will stop for him, thinking कि बेचारी इसकी माँ ने कुछ खाना बनाया होगा. She must be waiting for him. I must give him a lift. Just by changing the appeal, he'll get 20 people waiting to give him a lift. But by just saying, I want to go to Jacksonville, nobody will stop for him. This is how communication works. Can you appeal to your buyer, your consumer's mind or his heart, not just his brain? If you can appeal to his heart, you'll sell your product no matter what the product is. Now, this is David Ogilvy. Everybody has heard of David Ogilvy. Now, he had written a book called Confessions of an Advertising Man. Now, the slides that I'm showing are quite scandalous, but please remember, I haven't made those ads. David Ogilvy made those. So if you don't like them, don't blame me. But if you like them, remember, I showed them to you. So he made a point that without spending too much money, how can you convince people of what you are saying? He said, if you are passing on a road in a car, you don't want to look at a hoarding that's on the side. You're busy on your laptop, you're busy on your iPad or whatever. You won't look at a hoarding. Unless, what David Ogilvy called, you can create a visual scandal on that hoarding, which forces people to look at that hoarding. And he gives this example in his book. There are the photographs from his book. He said one day in France, this hoarding appeared on a thing. And in French, it said, on 2nd September, the top goes off. And David Ogilvy writes that everybody who had no business to be on that road must have gone in the car on that road to see kya hota hai wahan pe. And on the second day, the top did go off. And it said 4th September, the bottom goes off. And David Ogilvy writes that it must have been a traffic jam on that road to see what happens. And on the 4th September, the bottom did go off. The lady had turned. It was an ad for an advertising agency. And the line was, "We keep our promises. If we say we'll do something, we'll do it." And Ogilvy writes that in a matter of 6 days, they made such an impact to prove to people that if we say what we'll do, we'll definitely do it. And this is how we said advertising should work, not by spending millions of rupees. Now, British Council. Every city has a British Council office. And they have a thing that if you come to us, we'll teach you how to write good English or speak good English. Unke courses rehte hain, part-time courses, full-time courses. So they had to do an advertising campaign. Now, why I'm saying all these things to you is because these were campaigns that did not spend a lot of money. लोगों को लगता है कि advertising campaign करना मतलब बहुत पैसे लगते हैं. You don't need too much money. You need great ideas. And you need guts to follow those ideas. तो इन्होंने क्या कहा कि instead of creating a big campaign, एक काम करो. He sent some photographers and they said कि choose anywhere where you find wrong English in use. और उसका photo निकाल के ले आओ. And they created about 8 or 9 ads, just actual photographs taken in different locations. And that campaign won an award that year for them. I don't have all the ads. I'll show you 3 ads. Wrong English used as an advertising campaign. So the first one said, "Hotel Pierre, please leave your values at the front desk." What they wanted to say is valuables. वो जो जिसने लिखा था उसको इंग्लिश नहीं आता था, तो he said, "Please leave your values at the front desk." The manager. And नीचे लिखा था कि "Come to British Council, we'll teach you how to write and speak correct English." The second one was, I think, for a garden where only men were allowed. Women weren't allowed in their garden. Now I think must be Afghanistan or some such place. The chap who wrote that board didn't know English, so this is what he wrote. "Warning, it is forbidden to enter a woman." What they meant is no entry for women. So it said, "British Council, come to us, we'll teach you how to write and speak correct English." The third one was for a restaurant. उनका ये था कि हमारे यहाँ जो भी हम सर्व करते हैं, it is completely quality checked. We've checked everything thoroughly. You can be very safe eating in a restaurant. Again, the guy who wrote it didn't know English. So he wrote, "Papa's Cafe, the manager has personally passed all the water served here." मतलब pass मतलब quality किया है उसने, but it had a wronger meaning. Now this is how British Council did advertising without spending money. इसमें से nothing is created. These were actual photographs that the photographers went and took. Now I think one country that doesn't have British Council must be Pakistan, because somebody from Pakistan sent me these things which are in Pakistan. It says, the top one left hand side, it says Mangopee River, swimming is prohibited. It's filled with crocodiles, swimming is prohibited, survivors will be prosecuted. Then that one says, press up, lift ka hai wahan pe, press up to go up, press down to go down. Then it says, "Warning, before entering the lift, please make sure it is present." Matlab, Pakistan has all the wrong things said because nobody has ever corrected this. Then the other one says, "No alcohol in or out." Now, again, coming back to how do you sell your idea? Not by telling people what you want to say. You want to say something that you make them believe and behave the way you want them to behave. It's very simple. Some years ago, the Commissioner of Police Traffic in Mumbai had come to our office. And he said, "We have a problem in Mumbai कि वहाँ पे सारे walls पे, बाहर society के walls पे, people spit on the walls, they urinate on the walls. And some people paint God's pictures on those walls, but we can't have the whole Mumbai city with God's pictures on the wall. So this is what we want to say. यहाँ थूकना, पेशाब करना या गंदगी करना मना है, then 5,000 रुपए या कैद by order. इसलिए इसकी hoardings बना के सब जगह लगा दो. I very politely told him, I said, "Sir, there's one problem with this. In every human being, every grown-up man, there's a child inside. And if you tell a child, don't do this, that's the first thing he will do." I said, "If you say, we'll punish you by order, their first reaction will be, let's see how you catch me. आपके पास कितने policemen हैं who will keep on watching who's urinating on a wall? You don't have such a big force. So don't do this. Don't make them do what you are telling them not to do. Make them feel embarrassed about doing it." So we put this hoarding. We said, "यह गधों की पेशाब करने की जगह है." We said, "Put this up. Let somebody go and urinate there. Somebody will take a picture. He'll never do it again." We put this in about 20 locations in Bombay. after which Dr. Pasricha, the commissioner, got transferred, not because of this holding, for whatever departmental problems they had. But I'll tell you how to create communication. आप जब गाड़ी चलाते हो कहीं पे भी, आपने ये sign देखी होगी, board which says, please drive slowly. How many of us really slow down? You don't slow down. We say, कोई आ नहीं रहा है, जा सकते हैं यार. Nobody is crossing the road. Nobody will wait after reading this sign. But suppose you don't say, please drive slowly, and you say, attention, you may encounter nude bathers at this site. We nude bathers आते जाते हो. People will not only slow down, they'll wait there. जैसे रुकते हैं यार, क्या जल्दी, क्या इतनी कहाँ जाना है हमको, जल्दी से रुकते हैं. 5 मिनट रुकने से क्या होता है? You will not have rash driving, you will have a traffic jam there. सब लोग वहां पे खड़े रहेंगे. अरे न्यूड बेजर आते हैं, बोला यहाँ पे बोर्ड लिखा है, यहाँ पे आते होंगे, कहीं 5 मिनट के बाद आएंगे. By doing this, you'll make people drive slowly. By saying drive slowly, they'll not drive slowly. Communication का ये basic फंडा ये है. Don't tell them what you want to say. Look at it from their point of view and see how you can convince them. Now, this is, every company has an image. I've advertised for all Tata products. All the Tata teas that are in the market, the Tetli tea, the Tata Namak, the Tata detergent, Tata, everything I've advertised for, Tata cement. And we realized one thing, that Tata has an image of guarantee. When you say a Tata product, people have faith in that. कि अच्छा ही होगा ये. अगर Tata product है तो it will be a guaranteed product. Similarly, Playboy, like Pepsi has an image that Pepsi makes fun of Coke. Pepsi never does serious advertising. Pepsi always says, if Coke said we are the official sponsors of the World Cup cricket, they'll say we are the unofficial sponsors of the World Cup cricket. They keep doing these kinds of takeoff. Now, Playboy, which was an old magazine where there are nude pictures of women, they're not just a magazine, they are a huge empire. They have Playboy clubs, they have Playboy jackets, they have Playboy suits, they have everything. They were launching men's underwears. So they can't do something that Rupa or these guys do, where they can just show the underwears. They had to do something which was slightly naughty, because it had to go with the image. So this is what they did. Nothing dirty said, unless you have something in your mind. They didn't say anything. They just put this there. But that went with the image. You can never do advertising that goes against your image, because people get confused with that. And humor always works. Here's an ad for a hair transplant thing in New York, which said, avoid the coming recession. And this shows hairline receding. Another barber shop in New York didn't have too much money to get a model. They actually used the photograph of Einstein, the world's most intelligent man, and said, a bad haircut can make anyone look dumb. And they put the most intelligent man in the advertising without spending money. Anybody could use this picture because he's not a model. He couldn't be charging them for anything. Now here is in London, to show that Araldite can fix anything to anything, they put an actual car on a hoarding, not a model. They took an actual car, stuck it on a hoarding and said, it can also fix handles to your teacups. If you can see a whole car on a hoarding, of course it can stick handles to the teacups. Minimum words, but demonstration like this, without spending too much. Why I'm keeping on harping on this is that every small businessman feels that advertising is expensive. Advertising is not expensive. If you have the guts to try something new, advertising is very cheap. Here's another example. Termites, white ants, they eat up wood. These people put up, in a town called Spokane, they put up a hoarding which says there are no termites in Spokane. That was the line. And every week, the hoarding was being eaten up by white ants. Same hoarding. And it kept on changing. That kept on getting eaten up. So they were saying there are no termites, but they were showing that there are so many termites, even our hoarding is getting eaten up. So in 3 weeks' time, they made a point that there are so much, that our town is so full of termites, you better buy our product. We'll see what's happened to our hoarding. 3 hafte mein, one hoarding, they made that point. Now, when you go to a watch shop, you spend half an hour trying out different watches. You may have a watch and then you may show it to your wife, or your wife may show it to the husband and say, "Kaisa lagta hai ye?" And you keep wasting about half an hour. What these people did in the metro railways, on the straps that you hang by, they put their watches with different models. So when you're traveling, you can keep on trying how the watch looks in that train itself and make a note. Ki ye acha lagta hai. When you go to a shop, you only spend 5 minutes because you've seen what the watches are. So if you see about 5, 6 watches there, you're saving all that time that you would normally spend in a watch shop. This is how advertising works. Now here is a binocular, Orion. No words. They said 100 zoom, you can see the moon. 200 or whatever, 400 zooms, you can see the American flag on the moon. And 800 zoom, you can say made in China. 3 pictures, no words. But they make a point कि हमारी इतनी powerful binoculars है, you can see the minute details on that flag, American flag on the moon. Now this is an ad that appeared in Britain, which said, "Welcome back to butter. Butter has no more calories than this thing." Now, I don't agree with this. Butter has no more calories than margarine is fine, but why do you have to show a half-naked woman? In my entire career in advertising, I felt that if I have to show a half-naked woman, I don't need to be creative. The local pan wala can put a bikini-clad woman and say, "Sharma Pan Bhandar," and people will come and look at it. You don't need to be creative in advertising. I'm not saying it because मैं कुछ women causes का supporter हूँ, ऐसा कुछ है नहीं. I'll give you an example because I think women in India have it, I'm sorry to say this, but far better than us men have. I'll give you an example that suppose अगर एक Sunday है, मेरी building की lights चली गई, no AC, no fans. So I go to my terrace, take off my clothes, मैं वहाँ पे without troubling anybody, I'm lying without clothes on my own terrace. अगर बाजू की building में some lady goes on her terrace and she looks at me from there, she can phone up the police and have me arrested for indecent exposure. And my life is over. People say, "You don't know what he was doing. On a Sunday afternoon, he was lying on his terrace without clothes. Can you believe this? My life is over." Now, the following Sunday, in that lady's house, lights go off. And she takes off her clothes and goes and lies on a terrace. And if I go and look at her, again, she can phone up the police and have me arrested for being a peeping Tom. So men don't win. This way or that way, you lose. So when I say I don't agree with this, it's not because I feel that women are troubled. I say this because I had this great fortune of working on a wonderful brand called Amul. And I always say that anybody who's advertising would agree with me that Dr. Kurian of Amul was the best client in the world. He called us and said कि हमारे पास choice है, हमारे पास 400 agencies के choice है. We've chosen you. Don't show us what you do. Do exactly what you want to do. I have faith in you. और मैंने 17-18 साल अमूल की एड्स की. We never had to show him what we were doing. Amul butter became popular because we had complete free hand. He had trust in us. He said, "Do what you want to do." I don't understand advertising. So suppose we are here in the evening and there was a cricket match going on, and if Virat Kohli or somebody scored a century, I would phone up my office कि ये line है, ये ऐसा visual करना, रात को hoarding पे white wash करा के रात को paint करा दो. So tomorrow morning, before you read in the papers कि Virat had scored a century, there'll be a joke on an Amul hoarding on that. And people couldn't believe how that happened. That happened because Dr. Kurian said, "Don't show us what you do. Do exactly what you want to do. Don't get us into trouble and sell our product." Just imagine कि Amul जब launch हुआ था, the Polson's was the biggest brand in India. Polson butter was the biggest. I think it had some 80% market share. There was a Swiss brand or French brand called Anchor butter, which was popular in India. And suddenly one little town, Anand Milk Union Limited in Gujarat, without any money, comes in the market. They did what I'm telling you. They unbelonged. They said, "Let's not follow them and say we have creamier butter, we have more golden butter, we'll make up your food better." They said, "Let's create a mascot. Let's write a jingle which the last 2 lines were, Amul is the answer to your wishes. It's utterly butterly delicious. And let's run that." When I started handling it, see, hoardings are normally taken as reminder medium. आपकी एक फिल्म रहती है, आपका एक प्रेस एड रहता है, उसमें से एक लाइन आप होर्डिंग पे लगाते हो. Hoarding is just a reminder medium. We said, let's put all our money into hoardings. Let's change the hoardings every week. And Dr. Kurian said, "Let's take the chance." In the world, nobody has taken this chance. Little Dairy from Gujarat. Dr. Kurian said, let's take that chance. No press ads, no TV films, no films in theaters, only hoardings, and change it every week. He would do a hoarding in every language. In Gujarati for Ahmedabad, we had a hoarding at Ashram Road. Ahmedabad, Gujarati. Calcutta, Bengali. Tamil hoarding in Tamil Nadu. We kept changing every week, no matter what was happening. And I think today we have maybe 80% market share. There's so many other butters in the market, nobody can topple Amul. I'll show you some examples of Amul. There was a time when the government announced, central government announced 5 days working, Saturday, Sunday off. So I said, what do government employees still do 7 days a week? Eat Amul. I put this up. I met a senior executive from some multinational company at Bangalore airport. He said, Bharat, that new hoarding is fantastic, but not many people have got the real meaning in that hoarding. I said, kya hai? Real meaning kya hai? He said, aapne likha hai, eat Amul under the table. Government employees sare under the table khate hain. So that was not in our mind. ये तो ऐसे artist को जगह मिली होगी उसने वहाँ पे लिखा था. But I couldn't tell him that time. I said, very intelligent. Not many people have got the real meaning. But now years later, I can admit that was not our intention. But this is how he made that hoarding funnier. Then we used to do a lot of things for Ganpati. Every Ganpati Utsav, we used to do a thing. So this was in Maharashtra, we said Mangal Amul Ki Molya, the little girl talking in a thing, Amul Batal. Then I don't have the hoarding that I'm talking about. We had a hoarding which was identical to this, but it had Ganpati holding a slice of bread in his hand, and the girl had butter on a plate, and the line was Ganpati Bappa more gya, matlab take more. ये hoarding ऊपर गया 20-25 sides पे, and I got a 40-page letter from a lawyer in Mumbai. He said कि I am a regular customer of Amul butter, but your latest hoarding has hurt my religious feelings. उसका ये मतलब था कि उसने कहा कि in Hindu religion you cannot show a Hindu god holding bread in his hand, because पुराने ज़माने में, as he wrote in that letter, कि Christian missionaries would go and throw a slice of bread in a well, and if you drank water from that, they said you converted to Christianity. Because you have shown a Hindu god holding a slice of bread in his hand, I am writing to tell you कि आज से मैंने अमूल बटर खरीदना बंद कर दिया है. But then he added a proviso. He said, but if you give me your word that you will never repeat this hoarding again, we may reconsider my decision. Now we never repeat hoardings. So I said, why tell him we never do it? So मैंने उसको एक 2-line letter लिखा कि sorry if you got troubled. We didn't have an intention of hurting your feelings, but Ganpati is a fun god. See, our other gods are frozen gods. Ram, matlab there's Ram, Sita, Lakshmana, and Hanuman. That's a standard picture. Krishna, meaning there's Krishna and Radha. But Ganpati can be a cricketer. He can play the guitar. He can play the sitar. He can do all kinds of things. But if it has hurt your feelings, I will never repeat this hoarding again. मैंने 2 line का letter भेजा उसको. उसने मुझे 45 pages का letter भेजा फिर से. I think lawyers can't write briefly, you know. He went to the whole thing. I referred to my earlier letter dated so and so. उसने पूरा reproduce किया उसमें. He had said this. Then I referred to your letter dated so and so, where you've given me a personal assurance you'll never repeat this hoarding. On the basis of your personal assurance, I'm happy to inform you that I've started eating Amul butter again. So we got that one customer back. So ये जब hoarding मैंने किया, मैंने कहा let's not take chances. The line was Ganpati Bappa more dya, meaning give me more. The girl's plate was empty. Ganpati had nothing in his hand that he shouldn't have. I said, this can't get us into trouble. And we put up this hoarding and in Marine Drive, Mumbai. And the Amul Mumbai office got a call from somebody who said, I am the Shakha Pramukh, Shiv Sena Shakha Pramukh from Marine Drive. If you don't remove this hoarding in 48 days, we'll burn it down. They said, look, we don't interfere normally, but we'll threat aayi hai hoarding ko. So change kar do. I said, let's not be in a hurry. Let's talk to somebody in Shiv Sena. I didn't know anybody in Shiv Sena that time. I know everybody now. I got a list of all the senior leaders. Chhagan Bhujbal, not in town. Manohar Joshi, not in town. Everybody was not in town. In desperation, I called the Bala Saheb Thackeray. And I said, sir, can I come and see you? He said, I come to Shiv Sena Bhavan. So मैंने इसकी एक print निकाली, लेके गया वहाँ पे. I said, sir, my name is so and so. I do this hoarding. इसमें क्या खराबी है? He said, look, I am a cartoonist myself. I don't think anybody would threaten this hoarding. And I'm very happy that a Maharashtrian is writing this. I didn't know a Maharashtrian was writing it. I'm very proud of you. So don't worry. Nobody can threaten this hoarding. I'll phone up the Shakha Pramukh and tell them to give protection to this hoarding. So I came back to the office. I said, I spoke to Bala Saheb. He said, protection देंगे उसको. He said, लेकिन शाखा प्रमुख ने हमको फोन किया था कि जला देगा. तो क्या करें? तो वी हैड अ लॉन्ग डिस्कशन, ऐसे एक काम करते हैं, रखते हैं, लेट्स नॉट रिमूव इट, लेट्स होप समबडी बर्न्स इट डाउन. In the next 5 minutes, Rajdeep Sardesai, Barkha Dutt, everybody will be there taking pictures of this. अगले 8 दिन तक डिबेट में हमारी ये बात चलती रहेगी. What is happening to this country? People are burning down hoardings. So I said, they'll call me for a debate. They'll call Dr. Kurian for a debate. We don't have that much budget to advertise Amul Butter. 8 दिन free advertising मिलेगी हमको. तो 10 दिन के बाद मैं निकालता था नॉर्मली. मैंने ये होर्डिंग 20 दिन के लिए रखा. If I was out of the office, I would phone them up. किसी ने जलाया क्या होर्डिंग? They said, नहीं यार अभी तक ऐसी ही है. So after 20 days, we removed it. But from that day, till I handled Amul Butter advertising, I didn't do anything on religion. I think we are getting oversensitive about every religion. We can't say anything about Hindus, we can't say anything about Christians, we can't say anything about Islam. Anything that we say, even in good faith or good fun, it gets misunderstood. So from that day, I stopped doing hoardings with Ganpati. I stuck to sports, television serials. We had a hoarding when Mahabharata was going on. There was a Bhishma Pratijna. So I said, I vow not to eat anything but Amul. That's another Bhishma Pratijna. Then we stuck to sports. There was a World Cup football when Maradona was the star of that World Cup. So I said, Maradona to aisa hona, butter hona to Amul hona. Then there was a thing, there was a called Paolo Rossi, was an Italian footballer. So we said, Paolo Rossi, utterly butterly Amul. So we stuck to sports, never got into trouble. Then there was another hoarding where in an India-Pakistan test series, Zahir Abbas scored a century in every match that he played against us. So we did a hoarding which said, "Nahi, ye to Sunil Gavaskar ka hai." When he scored more runs than Don Bradman, we said, dawn of a sunny era. And then he kept on breaking, with every run, he kept on breaking some new record. So we put a banner there saying, go easy, Sunil, we can't change hoarding so fast. Then that Pakistan and India match made, there was a guy called Zahir Abbas who scored a century in every inning. So we did a hoarding which said, Zahir Abbas. And have some utterly Amul. And you will not believe this, there was a match in Karachi where Zahir got out for 14 runs. So we put up a hoarding, a banner on the hoarding saying, thank you, Zahir, for listening to Amul. Then Raj Kapoor passed away. We said, let's not make a joke about this. Raj Kapoor was known as the Joker. And the Joker is somebody, no matter how sad he is, he could be crying, but he makes sure that he has a smile on his face that will make you laugh. So we said that the best tribute to Raj Kapoor would be to show the Amul girl as a joker with tears in the eyes, with that famous style of Raj Kapoor, but with a fixed smile. And we put up this hoarding. We won an award in every category that we entered this hoarding in. The good thing was that Amul Butter hoarding had won an award. The bad thing was I would spend a whole year thinking of clever lines, 40, 50 clever lines. And finally, the hoarding that wins an award has no words on it. But this is how advertising works. It works by appealing to something that is dear to your heart. No, can you get out of this? And let's go to that film. I'm going to talk about a film briefly, again, to make the same point. When Atalji was the Prime Minister, the PM was, don't start it, just go back to that thing, but stop it there. Get out of this file and go to that PM's film. Just don't start it. So they had taken out 2 poems of Atalji's, because Atalji, as you all know, is, besides being a great Prime Minister, was also a great poet. So they took out 2 poems. They gave the first one to Yash Chopra ji. And Yash Chopra ji did a brilliant film with Shah Rukh Khan reciting that poem. Hey, stop it, don't start it. So they gave it, they showed it to me and said, this is a film Yash ji has done. And I said, this is brilliant. Only Yash ji can do a film like this. I said, it's a fantastic film, but it's not great communication. The moment you use somebody like Shah Rukh Khan or Amitabh Bachchan, they overshadow the concept. And people see it as a Shah Rukh Khan film. They don't know who's written that poem. They don't know what the words are, because Shah Rukh Khan is larger than life. Amitabh Bachchan is larger than life. I said, this is not great communication. I'll do the film, but I will not. There are 2 things I said. One is, I want to see Atalji writing this poem. This was just a trick. I wanted to see him and meet him. So they gave me permission to go to his house in Delhi, Prime Minister's residence, and you can shoot him writing the poem. And I said, I will not use a film star, because a film star will overshadow the entire thing. And the biggest problem was, in this poem, Atalji talks about unki yaad kare, people who sacrificed for our country. And there are lots of references to Kala Pani. हमारे पास इतने पैसे नहीं थे कि काला पानी अंडमान जाके शूट करें फिल्म. तो मेरा एक दोस्त है Priyadarshan, he's a very big director. He had done a film called Kala Pani in Malayalam, which then Amitabh Bachchan had bought to do a Hindi version of that. So I went to Priyan and said, Priyan, can you give me footage from that film? All the Kala Pani footage that you have. He said, I'll give it to you. I said, we'll not use a star, we use a little girl running around the whole country with different religions and then finally handing it over to Atalji. And this is the film. It was called Unki Yaad Kare. Play it. Just in volume. Naushad ji had done the music for this before he passed away. Naushad and Hariharan had sung this song.
जो बरसों तक लड़े जेल में उनकी याद करे, उनकी याद करे। जो बरसों तक लड़े जेल में उनकी याद करे, उनकी याद करे। जो फांसी पर चढ़े खेल में उनकी याद करे, उनकी याद करे। जो फांसी पर चढ़े खेल में उनकी याद करे, उनकी याद करे। याद करें काला पानी को, अंग्रेजों की मनमानी को। याद करें काला पानी को, अंग्रेजों की मनमानी को। कोल्हू में जुट तेल पेर दे सावरकर से बलिदानी को। कोल्हू में जुट तेल पेर दे सावरकर से बलिदानी को। अन्यायी से लड़े, अन्यायी से लड़े, दया की मत फरियाद करे, उनकी याद करे। जो बरसों तक लड़े जेल में उनकी याद करे, उनकी याद करे। जो बरसों तक लड़े जेल में उनकी याद करे, उनकी याद करे। बलिदानों की बेदाई लोकतंत्र दे रहा दुहाई। बलिदानों की बेदाई लोकतंत्र दे रहा दुहाई। स्वाभिमान से वही जिएगा जिससे कीमत गई चुकाई। स्वाभिमान से वही जिएगा जिससे कीमत गई चुकाई। अंतिम विजय सुनिश्चित पथ में क्यों अवसाद करे। अंतिम विजय सुनिश्चित पथ में क्यों अवसाद करे। अन्यायी से लड़े, अन्यायी से लड़े, दया की मत फरियाद करे, उनकी याद करे। जो बरसों तक लड़े जेल में उनकी याद करे, उनकी याद करे। जो बरसों तक लड़े जेल में फांसी पर चढ़े खेल में उनकी याद करें, उनकी याद करें। जो फांसी पर चढ़े खेल में उनकी याद करें, उनकी याद करें। उन पर याद करें जेल में उनकी याद करें, उनकी याद करें, उनकी याद करें, उनकी याद करें, उनकी याद करें।
I'll just take a minute and then I'll finish. The reason why I said this is when you see this, if I had used Amitabh Bachchan in this, you wouldn't have noticed the words, you wouldn't have bothered about who the poet was. So we had to remove all that to make a better communication. And when I went, I must tell you an interesting thing. When I went to Delhi to shoot Atalji in his house, I told him in a true advertising fashion, I said, loop this song, keep playing this in the background because that has a great impact on people's clients' mind. And Atalji came, he had just had his knee operation. He came and sat in a chair. I sat at his feet and I was explaining to him what I was planning to do. And he heard the whole thing. And his first sentence to me was, अच्छा है, अच्छी बनाई है, अच्छी कविता है, लेकिन अच्छा म्यूजिक है, लेकिन इस कविता में आपने मेरी सारी पंक्तियां नहीं ली। तो ऐसे हाँ वो बहुत लंबी थी तो वी कट डाउन समथिंग। ऐसे आपने कब लिखी थी ये कविता? He said, पता नहीं 30-40 साल पहले लिखी होगी। And I was so shocked. Here is a prime minister of a country. He's just had his knee operations. He has got lots of problems, Pakistan, everything on his head. But as a true poet, you are so wedded to the words that you've written. कि 40 साल पहले लिखी हुई कविता का कुछ 4 लाइनें कम थी. He remembered that कि इसमें और 4 लाइनें अच्छी थी उसमें. And he said, लेकिन वो लाइनें भी अच्छी थी. But ये अच्छा है. He patted me on the back and ये भी अच्छा है. And I was so impressed that besides being a prime minister, he was a true poet. You know, all of us who write things, we are so attached to the words that we write. कि एक लाइन भी कम हो गई तो we feel hurt. But this guy, after 40 years, remembered this. And one more last thing is, you mentioned about my doing Modi ji's line, "Ab ki baar Modi Sarkar." Now, when I did that time we didn't know that Modi ji was going to be the nominee from BJP. So we had written different lines. We had written, "Ab ki baar Modi Sarkar," "Ab ki baar Jaitley Sarkar," "Ab ki baar Sushma Sarkar," "Ab ki baar BJP Sarkar," "Jab Congress aayi hai, kamar tod महंगाई hai," all kinds of lines. But personally, if you ask me, I don't think "Ab ki baar Modi Sarkar" is a great line because I can replace the name Modi with any other name, it will still be as good. A good line, which wasn't written by me, was years ago when Atalji was standing for election. The line was, "Ab ki bari Atal Bihari." Now that, without Atalji's name, that line doesn't stand. And that's what makes a good line. Or even before that, when Jayaprakash Narayan was standing for, he was the main force behind the opposition. The line was, "Andhere mein ek prakash, Jayaprakash, Jayaprakash." I thought those lines were brilliant lines. Ab ki baar Modi Sarkar got promoted well. They ran the same thing, and Modi ji went to America and said, "Ab ki baar Trump Sarkar," and all that. So that got much more publicity that time. But I think these other lines were far better. So thank you very much. This is what I had to share with you. Thank you.
What a communication since last 55 minutes. Communication at its best. Why you need to be brand like Harley Davidson or Rolls-Royce? Your belief to believe you makes you a big brand. You are a big brand. You are a role model. I don't think words can appreciate your this talk very properly. I believe that भाई ये सेशन के बाद हम खाना खा ले, डिनर के बाद हम यहाँ से अलग होंगे. प्लीज आप यहाँ तक रहे हैं तो डिनर तक रहिए. मेरी आपसे अपील है. इसके बाद में डिनर है वो हम साथ में लेंगे, सर के साथ लेंगे. मैं यहाँ पे शब्दों के तो आप धनी हैं. हमको तो आपको सुन के ऐसा नहीं लगता कि हम आपके सामने कुछ शब्द रख पाए, लेकिन हमको ग्रेटिट्यूड या एप्रिसिएशन तो हमको करना है. तो मैं ये हाउस को ये कहना चाहूंगा कि बगैर एक भी शब्द बोले हम आपको अप्रिशिएट करना चाहते हैं। मैं आपसे गुजारिश करूंगा कि हमारी ताली की गूंज और हमारी ताली का सातत्य, हम प्रयास करेंगे आपको अप्रिशिएट करने के लिए। जब तक ये गूंज ऊपर है और ताली का सातत्य है, वो हम चाहते हैं कि वो हम आपको अर्पण कर रहे हैं। थैंक यू सो वेरी मच, थैंक यू सो वेरी मच, थैंक यू सो वेरी मच। Now I request House to shoot your questions, and I believe that after a wonderful this 5 course, 7 course.
मुझे नॉर्मली
dinner
कोई
on-
क्वेश्चन पूछता ही नहीं है। नॉर्मली ये पूछते हैं कि आप हर रोज शेव करते हो क्या, यही क्वेश्चन आते हैं।
वो एक
और
सवाल
कोई सिंसियर कोई एजुकेशनल क्वेश्चन जैसे इनको पूछे, मुझे कोई पूछता नहीं है कभी भी।
so very नहीं, एक सवाल तो हाँ, हम सिर्फ 5 सवाल लेंगे और जिन्होंने सवाल पूछा है वो वापस नहीं पूछेंगे निशांत।
हेलो, वेरी
और
गुड इवनिंग
सवाल
सर।
सुनिए, पहले आपको पूछने से पहले आपको अगर ये समझ में आया हो तो आप लंबा सवाल नहीं करेंगे। Shoot your question.
सर, मेरा क्वेश्चन ये है कि जो अमूल ने एडवर्टाइजमेंट 2013 में निकाली थी लोकोमोटिव इंजन के ऊपर, रेलवे इंजन में सर, तो वो सबसे पहले वो ट्रायल बेसिस पे किया हुआ था, वडोदरा से लेके बॉम्बे सेंट्रल के बीच में गुजरात एक्सप्रेस में आर.एस. सोडी सर ने किया था। तब मैं वहां पे अवेलेबल था, तो आर.एस. सोडी सर ने बोला था कि ये एडवर्टाइजमेंट हमने सबसे यूनिक डायरेक्शन में की है। आज तक कभी पूरे इंडियन रेलवे में कभी ऐसा कुछ हुआ ही नहीं है कि रेल इंजन के ऊपर मतलब इस तरह की एडवर्टाइजमेंट होती है। अब सर आपको बताना चाहूंगा कि सर उसके बाद जो अमूल ने एडवर्टाइजमेंट की, उसके बाद काफी सारी हल्दीराम है, काफी सारी स्टील कंपनियां है, मतलब में तो वो लोगों ने एडवर्टाइजमेंट किया। तो सर वो इतना पॉजिटिव अप्रोच से एडवर्टाइजमेंट हुआ कि अभी पर
ज्ञान यहाँ से आएगा, आप
हाँ।
सवाल ही करेंगे, ज्ञान यहाँ से आएगा।
तो सर अभी वो एडवर्टाइजमेंट इतनी पॉजिटिव हो गई कि इंडियन रेलवे को पर ईयर एनुअली फाइनेंशियल ईयर में सर 2000 करोड़ का एडवर्टाइजमेंट मिल रहा है। तो सर ये काफी सारा मतलब में पॉजिटिव अप्रोच है। तो सर ये इसकी शुरुआत अमूल ने ही की थी। तो सर आप जरा इसके बारे में बताएंगे कि किस तरह से मतलब में ये अप्रोच आया था कि लोकोमोटिव पे करना है, क्योंकि अमूल
आई रियली डोंट नो, क्योंकि आई वाज नॉट हैंडलिंग अमूल एट दैट टाइम।
ओके सर,
मैंने 17 साल किया, लेकिन एट दैट टाइम जो 2013 की आप बात करें, मैं सोधी साहब थे वहां पे।
हाँ।
आई हैंडल्ड इट अप टू J.J. Bakshi when he was the managing director, and after that Bharat was the managing director.
Okay, sir.
So I handled it up to them. After that, I didn't handle Amul, but I launched all Amul's products. I launched Amul Milk, the Tetra Pak milk, in the Sumul dairy here in Surat. Amul Chas, Amul Doodh, Amul milkshakes. I handled all of them. And एक बार मैं हमेशा कहता हूँ, which I didn't mention them, I have worked with Indian entrepreneurs. I have worked with multinationals. Indians never tell lies, and multinationals always tell lies. Hindustan Lever lies on a daily basis. उनकी हर एक ऐड झूठ होती है। और अमूल, मैंने जब अमूल के लिए मिल्क शेक्स लॉन्च करना था हमें, तो मैंने रिसर्च किया बम्बई में कि कौन से फ्लेवर्स पॉपुलर है मिल्क शेक्स में। तो हमें 2 फ्लेवर्स के नाम मिले, एक स्ट्रॉबेरी और एक चॉकलेट। तो मैंने डॉक्टर कुरियन और मिस्टर बख्शी से मीटिंग की आनंद में, एंड उन्होंने कहा कि ये 2 फ्लेवर में लॉन्च करना है। तो डॉक्टर कुरियन ने कहा कि हमारे पास चॉकलेट तो है, कोको है, हमारी न्यूट्रामुल है, हमारा अमूल चॉकलेट है, तो चॉकलेट मिल्क शेक हम लॉन्च कर सकते हैं। स्ट्रॉबेरी मैं कहाँ से लाऊंगा? ऐसे स्ट्रॉबेरी की क्या जरूरत है, आप स्ट्रॉबेरी एसेंस यूज करो। इसलिए अगर अमूल का प्रोडक्ट है तो वी विल नेवर यूज एनीथिंग दैट इज नॉट रियल। तो मैं आपको चॉकलेट दूंगा और मैं आपको इलायची दूंगा। हमारे पास श्रीखंड के लिए इलायची है। ऐसे इलायची कोई मांगता नहीं, इलायची इज नॉट पॉपुलर फ्लेवर। ही सेड, यंग मैन, honesty is more important than profit. And Dr. Kurian said that to me. And we launched Amul chocolate, and Elaichi didn't work. He said, doesn't matter. But मैं झूठ नहीं बोलूँगा. I also handled Vico and Vico Vajradanti and turmeric vanishing cream. And once I had gone to meet Mr. Pendarkar, who was Gajubha, who was the inventor of that whole Vico thing and chairman. And I said, Gajubha, I have this Vico Vajradanti, it's become very watery, तो वो टूथब्रश पे रहती नहीं है, वो पिघल जाती है। Can you do something? He said, we use only natural ingredients. शायद किसी एक बैच में there may be more moisture. We will not make it artificially hard. We will not tell lies to the consumer. Only Indian companies do that. Every other company, whether it's L'Oreal that I've handled, whether it is Hindustan Levers, they tell lies on a regular basis. हम लोग नहीं बोलते झूठ। That's one thing we must be, all of us must be very proud of this, कि हम लोग झूठ नहीं बोलते. बड़ी-बड़ी कंपनियां हैं, we don't tell lies.
One question.
और मैंने ये, I have said this with the marketing director of Hindustan Lever sitting in front of me. And I said, आप लोग झूठ बोलते हो. You just keep on adding some surf with XL4, which means nothing. People get impressed with that because you have so much media budget. You start believing कि इसमें कुछ अलग चीज है. कुछ नहीं होता उसके अंदर. I had met Karsan Bhai when they were doing Nirma. And Nirma had taken Hindustan Levers to town. Hindustan Levers didn't know what to do with them. They did everything wrong. They tried to say all the wrong things. कि Nirma का एक पैकेट में इतने कपड़े धोए जाते हैं. हमारे इसमें because it was vacuum dried, it looked like a bigger pack. तो हमारे in the same money you can get bigger pack. It was all lies. So levers, every multinational company that I worked with tell lies, but Indian companies never tell lies.
Great. Great.
Yeah.
निशांत, wait. 4 बाकी है. अगर 4 में आपको जगह मिल गई तो आप, क्योंकि आगे आप आ गए हैं, 4 सवाल बाकी हैं. हाँ, जहां से आ गए हैं. हाँ, आप. हाँ, ब्लैक. हाँ, आप. निशांत, please don't feel bad, huh? We are trying to justify everyone. हाँ, नेक्स्ट कौन है वो हाथ ऊपर करें.
सर, मार्केटिंग में कई बार कंप्लायंस का भी काफी ध्यान रखना पड़ता है, तो एक्चुअल में कौन अथॉरिटी है कि ये कंप्लायंस, फुल्ली कंप्लायंस एड माना जाएगा, तो वो किसी से अप्रूवल लेना रहता है या इंडिया में ऐसा कोई अथॉरिटी है?
नहीं, इंडिया में हमारी एक अथॉरिटी है, इट्स कॉल्ड एडवर्टाइजिंग स्टैंडर्ड्स काउंसिल ऑफ इंडिया, एस्की. तो अगर किसी को भी लगता है कि ये जो एड है ये ओवर एग्जैजरेटेड है या झूठ बोल रही है, any consumer, मतलब we don't have to be a body. You can write to ASCI and say कि ये, these are the objections we have, कि ये जो product है ये गलत कुछ चीजें बोल रहा है. ASCI immediately makes them stop that ad. They call the manufacturer and the agency कि ये हमारे पास ये complaint आई हुई है. Please explain, is this right or wrong? Until then you can't advertise. ASCI does it all the time.
मैं फाइनेंस फील्ड से जुड़ा हुआ हूँ और साउथ गुजरात मेरा रीजन है, एरिया है, बिजनेस एरिया है. तो उसमें मुझे किसी से अप्रूवल लेना पड़ेगा कि ये आप अप्रूवल दीजिए और मैं मार्केटिंग करूं?
नहीं, आपको प्रायर अप्रूवल किसी से लेना नहीं पड़ता. इन द ओल्डन डेज, दूरदर्शन के टाइम में यू हैड टू हैव दूरदर्शन अप्रूवल बिफोर एडवर्टाइजिंग अ प्रोडक्ट, एंड दे वुड टेक ऑल काइंड्स ऑफ ऑब्जेक्शंस, बट बिकॉज दे वांटेड ब्राइब्स, सो दे वुड स्टॉप एन एड till you paid them money, they wouldn't let it go. Now, right now, you don't need anybody's approval. You just need your client's approval and you put it on. But if you say something wrong, a consumer can write to ASCI and say कि ये गलत बात बोल रही हैं, and then they can make them stop that ad. The only problem with ASCI is it's an advertising body, very poorly advertised, so nobody knows about them. I always tell them you should advertise yourselves better. Nobody knows that you exist. But yeah, this body is always there for last 30 years. It's in existence.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any more questions? Raise your hand. હા, તમે 3 રહેવાના છે એવું લાગે છે. નિશાંત, ક્યાં છે, કઈ બાજુ છે? પીપલિયા. ઓકે, પીપલિયા. Wait for a while, Nishant, you will be there.
केबी पीपलिया फूड एंड एग्रीटेक एग्जीबिशन जो हमारा परसों होने वाला है, उनका चेयरमैन हूँ. सर, आपने जो मुंबई की मदद की है, एक टैगलाइन देके यहाँ गधे को पेशाब करना है, इस तरह का हमारे सूरत में तापी नदी में जो लोग कचरा फेंकते हैं उनके लिए अगर कुछ टैगलाइन देते हैं तो हमारे कॉर्पोरेशन के लिए बड़ा हेल्प हो जाएगा.
जो लोग इलीगल कुछ काम करते हैं ना, उनको टैगलाइन से फर्क नहीं पड़ता, उनको फाइन से फर्क पड़ता है. You have to fine them heavily. You have to make sure that they're punished. I did 3 ads, I don't know, you may have seen them, for Gadkari ji with Akshay Kumar as a policeman. कि रास्ता किसी के बाप का नहीं है. We ran those 3 ads. We won an award for that also. कि Akshay Kumar as a policeman. We won lots of awards. But मैंने कहा कि Gadkari ji will do this ad. It will be very good, appreciated. But people will not stop breaking the law because of the advertising campaign. You have to fine them. And my recommendation was, don't have a standard fine. Fine them on the basis of the price of the car. If a Maruti owner is charged 2,000 rupees, a Mercedes owner charge him 20,000 rupees. Because for him 2,000 rupees may not mean anything. To have a staggering thing,
Yes.
charge more
Yes,
to a higher car. Because advertising will not change you have to punish people. अगर कचरा फेंकते हैं तो unless somebody punishes them, they'll never listen to advertising. See, advertising to change people's mindset will take lots of time and many years and lots of funds. वो होता नहीं इतने जल्दी से. We just create awareness. But then the product has to stand. So we can sell products. But social service जो होती है, unless there's something that is punishable, कोई मानता नहीं है.
And heavy punishment. you
Heavy
should-
punishment.
Correct.
Has to be.
Thank you. Thank you. So 3 last questions, one from Nishant, one from that lady, and one lastly from our Anil.
Good evening, sir.
Yes, sir.
So when it comes to advertising,
Okay.
Sir.
Okay. Wait.
Yeah.
Nishant, very precise.
yes, sir. So we have this buzzword going all around differentiation, and I was expecting, but thanks to you, sir, I'm learning this new word today, unbelong. So just want to just throw some light on this, how to be unbelong, still be relevant to the brand and the message.
That is the tricky part. I'll tell you what happens lots of time when people want to do something different, they do it so different that they don't know what the product is being advertised because they say we want to do something. So unbelong is don't do what everybody else is doing, but don't go so far away that people don't know what your product is or what you're trying to sell. The easiest thing is to say that the whole world is doing this. Can I do something slightly differently? Amul did that, as I said, with the girl, but you can't keep on using. When we did other products for Amul, we couldn't do the same thing. I launched Nutramul, which was like Bone Vita and Boost. We couldn't do that for Nutramul. We tried to unbelong by saying they are using just children being healthy and happy. We used karate as a symbol. Because that time that Bruce Lee's film had come, Enter the Dragon, and karate was very popular. So we had this Jugal Hansraj in a karate costume saying, I'm a Nutramul Dada.
Yeah.
And we did that. What is difficult in advertising is there are certain products which stand for the category. Amul chocolates are far superior to Cadbury chocolates. But in people's mind, they don't even say chocolate, they say, do Cadbury leke aana. It's as synonymous as that. It's like Xerox machines. Xerox is just a brand. There's a Canon copier, but nobody says Canon ki do copy lana. They say do Xerox copy lana. Now these products are so synonymous with the category, it's very difficult to beat them. I launched Fruity, Mango Fruity. And we found that Godrej launched Jumping Mango, Voltas launched Wall Fruit. They couldn't compete with us. In mango category, Fruity became, so people would say Godrej ka Fruity dena. For them, mango drink meant fruity. So it's very difficult to fight against established brands. You need lots of money. As I said, Amul spent money. I didn't do the advertising for chocolates. Better products than Cadbury's, but didn't work. Cadbury's are still the #1 brand. You can't dislodge them. So that always happens. We try different things, but वो होता नहीं है फिर. You need consistent advertising for many years and hoping that you get some segment from someplace. You can't beat the market leader. And what we call in advertising top of mind. When you say chocolates, what are the first 2 names that come in your mind? Those names will sell. If you say Cadbury and Nestle, then those are the products that will sell. So everybody's effort is to be top of mind. Now, top of mind can be by doing something different, can be by doing something consistently well. There are various ways of doing it. But in being different, when you say unbelong, as I said, I bought a rickshaw. Now, everybody can't go and buy a rickshaw. So maybe you paint your car differently or something. You have to do something that looks different. So your product has to stand out from the crowd. It's like I launched Seat tires. And Mr. Goenka said that, look, we have the technology that nobody else has. So we created a Rhino. And they said, our tires are the toughest. So we said a Rhino and Born Tough. Today, if I was to advertise for Seat, every tire manufacturer has the same technology. MRF has the same, Sri Chakra, Apollo, they all have the same technology. Then that Born Tough will not work. Then you have to think of something else. See, advertising, you can't be doing the same thing all over because a brand's life cycle, situations change. I had said that in 2014 in an interview when Mr. Modi became the Prime Minister, that his pitch at that time worked at that time. But in 2020, it won't work. He'll have to change his pitch. Now in 2024, he's again changed his pitch and he's gone into Modi ki guarantee. Same thing has to be happening all the time to a brand. In a brand's life cycle, you have to keep changing things because situations change, your competition changes. I mean, I give the example of Rajesh Khanna as a thing. That Rajesh Khanna was India's first, what they call a phenomenon. Girls used to write letters to him in blood saying, "Will you marry me?" I've heard Amitabh Bachchan saying that when he entered the studio, women would run after his car and pick up the mitti and put it in their mouths. He was that popular. He did nothing wrong. He was still that romantic guy. He would still talk the same way. At some point, people stopped liking romantic heroes. They wanted some tough hero. And there was this Amitabh Bachchan, angry young man, and Rajesh Khanna's career faded away. Not because he was doing anything wrong. He was still doing the same thing that he did, which made him popular. But situations change. A brand, like a person, has to be aware of what is working today. You have to be alive to what is changing. Otherwise, you get faded away. You can't say, "I'm very good. I started like this and I should forever continue doing this." It doesn't work that way. You have to be very aware. You have to be very alert to what is happening around you. That's why I give the example of Apple and things like that. That they did not take into account कि ये Apple computer company कुछ music system लेके आएगी. They should have been aware of that. They could have done something similar. They could have done it. They had the technology, but they didn't do it because they were worried about Panasonic. They didn't look at Apple. So you have to be very alert and alive, and that's where you can unbelong. And you have to keep on unbelonging differently at different times.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Rakesh Doshi.
Yeah. Thank you very much for wonderful session. My question is, Surat, outside Surat is known for diamond industry as well as textile, but we don't have any particular brand which is known outside Surat. So what do you think what has gone wrong and what can we do about it? Rather, what should we do about it?
No, when we launched the Amul Tetra Pak milk, that came out of Surat that time. We used to come to Sumul Dairy and launch a brand. So that was a Surat brand which worked. It's not
specifically the industry which is so large, textile and diamond. We don't have any jewelry brand.
They just mentioned Vipul Sari, and I remember that ad campaign of Vipul ki Sari Wawa. After so many years, I remembered that. And I think that's what made them different, you know. Nobody was selling sari by saying Vipul ki Sari Wawa. They were saying silk sari, achhi sari hai, खूबसूरत दिखोगी आप इसमें. They went into some other tack. I don't know who the agency was, but it was a great campaign.
वो राजेश जी हाथ ऊपर कर रहे हैं. They were the agencies, yes. और ये राकेश जी जो सवाल कर रहे हैं, he is mentoring many startups. So IPO भी बहुत सारे आए हैं, तो उनका सवाल करने का मकसद वो यहाँ पे सही है. Two more questions, last two. Sorry.
Yeah. No.
Atul Pathak and thereafter Anil Sarage will do the last question.
Sir, you have dared to say many words against the MNCs with whom you have worked. My question is, isn't it a concern of a business ethics? What you are doing? Please.
No, I didn't understand.
सर मेरा कहना यह है कि आपने जो एमएनसीज के साथ काम किया है उसके बारे में बहुत सारे ब्लंट स्टेटमेंट आपने दिया कि दे आर ऑलवेज रॉन्ग एंड राइट. मेरा सवाल यह है कि जिसके लिए आप काम कर रहे हो, जिस काम के लिए आप पेड हो, उसके अगेंस्ट में आप इन पब्लिक ऐसा स्टेटमेंट दे सकते हो. वेयर इज द मोरालिटी?
There's a thing called honesty also, sir. कि ये होता है जब मैंने नहीं कहा था. I remember I was working for Tata's and Darbari Seth, who was the chairman of Tata Chemicals and Tata Tea. In a public meeting, he said there are robbers and dakus, and Hindustan Lever is both. Chairman of Tata Chemicals and Tata Tea said that in a public meeting. He said somebody has to tell our consumers that the surf that they're selling in this country can't be sold in London. We must be aware of these kinds of things. We get taken in by the campaigns that they make. Somebody has to say that the surf can Hindustan Levers or Unilever sell that surf in a European country. Darbari Seth said this. He was the chairman of Tata Chemicals. He was not talking lightly. His point was, at some point you have to educate the consumer. Don't get convinced by just advertising campaigns. Understand, try and negotiate, find out, investigate these kinds of things. See, it's not a question of we are earning money. If we are earning money and if we keep quiet, then we are as guilty as people who are doing wrong things. At some point, we have to stand up and say, this is not correct. What they're doing is not, somebody has to say it. Nobody says it because it's a business thing. They won't give me business tomorrow. So if with the fear of not getting business, if I keep quiet, then that's not correct. As I said, Darbari Seth was not me. I'm just an advertising agency. He was the chairman of Tata Chemicals and he was J.R.D. Tata's favorite man. And he said that in a public thing. He said, please carry this message that Hindustan Levers, 80% of their products can't be sold in any other country except India. They're dumping these things on us. And consumers must know this. A Nirma is far better than a Surf. Why can't we be proud of our own products? Just because they're paying us, we don't have to tell lies. And I said that when I was handling the thing. And I said, you guys are telling lies. You should stop telling lies. It's like, which ice cream is that? The quality Walls.
Quality Walls.
Walls is not an ice cream. They can't call themselves ice cream. They call
Frozen
themselves frozen dessert because it's made with vegetable oil. Now, how many people know this? They think Amul, Vadilal and Walls is all the same. Somebody has to tell them, don't eat Walls if you want milk ice cream. It doesn't have any milk in it. It only has vegetable oil. It has vanaspati. Now, unless people who are aware of this make this as a point, we're all keeping quiet. They're making money. They are the ones who are making money and we say, but unke samne kaun bolega? Why should we say it in a public thing? See, if I tell this to you in a private thing, it's not going to go out.
Yes, true.
We must go out and tell this to people. If you're eating Walls, eat it. But keep in mind, it's not milk ice cream.
Absolutely, absolutely.
You have to be honest.
I think it's a matter of perception. You rightly said that to have courage to tell truth comes first and honesty is there. We appreciate you, sir. Thank you. This will be the last question, I believe. Nobody has raised
Manalji,
hand.
thank you very much for giving me space. First of all, the Dabalkar sir, we must bow down to your honesty and courage to speak out the truth, and we appreciate your efforts, sir. Sir, you very rightly said that manufacturing processes and technology can no longer be differentiators. You know, everybody has the same technology. My question is, sir, in your PPT, you had shown a shelf whereby there are thousands of shampoo brands today. 30 years ago, there were only 2 shampoo brands, so advertisers' life was easy and the brand's life was also easy. The examples that you shared predominantly around Amul was a unique case, you know. But nowadays, when you are handling particularly FMCG brands, if at all, can you share some insights or some cases whereby it is easy to, you know, take some slice out of the present market in FMCG?
There are 2 things going wrong when we do advertising today. One is that people are now replacing ideas with film stars. You suddenly find that you don't have to have a good idea. If you can afford Amitabh Bachchan, you'll have Amitabh Bachchan selling cement, hair oil, whatever. He's just standing there at a bank. You don't even know what he's advertising. You can afford him, so use it. Every brand now, instead of wasting time thinking of ideas, they're just getting a film star that they can afford. So you will find every major film star in every ad. And it makes no sense. Because except for, I don't know which product is that, biryani masala and thing, who makes those things?
MDH.
Not MDH.
Batra.
Everest.
Everest.
Everest is the only company I've seen in recent times. They've used Amitabh Bachchan and Shah Rukh Khan in a creative way. Everybody else uses this. People, Amitabh Bachchan is half the time standing, pointing somewhere that there could be a cement sack there, there could be hair oil there. So people are using film stars. The second thing that they're doing, which is going wrong according to me, you see, earlier when we were advertising on television, we had a limit of 30 seconds or 20 seconds. We couldn't afford more than that because it was very expensive. Now on social media, you can have a 5-minute ad. So what people are doing is they get some brilliant actors, do a 5-minute ad, Diwali ad. They forget one thing, that your product has to be the central point of an advertising campaign. Now, I had given an example of this Chitle Bandhu in Maharashtra. They had this beautiful ad of Diwali celebrations. At the end of it, somebody comes up with a Chitle Bandhu mithai. I said, if that lady who comes with Chitle Bandhu, instead of that, if she comes with PNG jewelry, it'll still stand the same thing. Ad has to be centered around. The best example of that is Fevikwik. That fisherman who sits with 5 dots and he catches 5 fish when he doesn't have any equipment. That without Fevikwik, that ad wouldn't stand. That's what a good ad is. अगर आप ad को end में अलग करके दूसरा कोई product डालो, it will still work. That's not a good campaign. That's a good film, but it's not a great campaign because you can replace that product with anything else. So a good ad has to be short. और उसका एक और एक प्रॉब्लम है सोशल मीडिया का. अगर आपकी 5 मिनट की ad है, आपने एक बार देख ली, 2 बार देख ली, अगर आपकी फिल्म के बीच में तीसरी बार आती है तो यू विल नॉट वॉच दैट अगेन, बिकॉज यू सीन इट ट्वाइस, यू नो व्हाट हैपेंस। 5 मिनट कौन रुकेगा, 4 मिनट कौन रुकेगा? इफ यू आर सीइंग स्मॉल एड्स, आईपीएल के मैच देख रहे हैं, एट द एंड ऑफ एवरी ओवर एड कम्स, you get irritated with that, but that makes an impact on your mind because it's hammering that brand name, that logo, whatever the thing is. So advertising works on repetition and dominating your mind space, which social media can't do. तो 5 मिनट के ad आप 2 बार देखोगे, थर्ड टाइम बोलेगे देखी हुई है अभी तो, एटलीस्ट गो एंड हैव टी, गो टू द वॉशरूम एंड कम बैक, खत्म होने तक हम लोग फिर से आएंगे बिफोर द प्रोग्राम स्टार्ट्स. So that is what is going wrong, that people are wasting money on social media, not realizing that this is happening to them. They're looking at a film, they're not looking at the impact of that film.
सर, एक आखिरी सवाल जो मैंने अभी कुछ समय पहले फिक्की में भी पूछा था कि हम एथिक्स की बात कर रहे हैं और हमारे बहुत सारे रोल मॉडल्स हैं, यूथ आइकॉन हैं जिनको हम सब मानते हैं और उनकी समाज के ऊपर बहुत बड़ी इम्पैक्ट हैं, जैसे कि क्रिकेटर्स भी ऐसे हैं जिनकी इम्पैक्ट बहुत अच्छी तरह से समाज के ऊपर हैं. अगर वो गुटखा की एडवर्टीजमेंट कर रहे हैं, हमारे पास वो फुटबॉलर प्लेयर और टेनिस प्लेयर का किस्सा था कि उन्होंने कोका कोला को जमीन पर रख दिया कि ये मेरी ब्रांड नहीं है. तो हमारे जो फिल्म स्टार हैं या हमारे जो क्रिकेटर्स हैं, वो कुछ चंद पैसों के लिए, वैसे उनके पास भरा हुआ पड़ा है, लेकिन ये सवाल जो अतुल जी का भी था, तो जो ब्रांड, इतनी बड़ी ब्रांड खुद हैं जिनको लोग फॉलो करते हैं,
It's completely wrong.
where
Completely wrong.
thin line between what I do and what
People
I should not.
advertising for liquor, people advertising for gutka just for money, when they know that there are millions following you. People follow everything. They follow their hairstyles, their clothes. Blindly, people follow them. But there's another thing to it. In law, we have a thing called buyer beware. We have a concept called buyer beware. A buyer also must be intelligent enough to know कि मैं धोनी से क्रिकेट के अगर कुछ गियर है तो खरीदूंगा, रियल एस्टेट का फ्लैट नहीं धोनी से खरीदूंगा. व्हाट डज धोनी नो अबाउट रियल एस्टेट? वी शुड आल्सो हैव सम ब्रेन्स कि ये इससे मैं क्या खरीद रहा हूँ. When Shah Rukh Khan advertises for Santro car, you must have the brains to know that Shah Rukh Khan doesn't have a Santro car. He has some foreign cars. What does he know about Santro car? तो अगर आप में ये अक्ल नहीं है, you can't blame the stars. They are getting money for this. They get more money for that 30-second ad than they would get for a whole film. Amitabh Bachchan may charge 5 crores for an ad. For a film also he may charge 5 or 6 crores. But ad in 2 दिन के अंदर उसको he gets 5 crores. But we must also have the brains कि why should we buy something because Amitabh is saying it? Why should we buy something because Shah Rukh is saying Santro car lo? He doesn't drive a Santro car. तो ये समझ consumers में भी होनी चाहिए. That's why law we have this thing of buyer beware. You should be careful about what you buy and from whom you buy this. It's very important. What they're doing is absolutely wrong.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so very much. तो यहाँ पे ये क्वेश्चन राउंड और हम दोनों फिल्म्स, आनंद साहब की ये बर्थ सेंटिनरी चल रही है, उसका एक गाना हम दोनों फिल्म का है, अभी ना जाओ छोड़ करके दिल अभी भरा नहीं, लेकिन कहीं ना कहीं हमको रुकना तो है. Before I invite our very dynamic Vice President and President-elect Vijay Mewawala, I want to express my gratitude to both the speakers, Bharatji and Madam Deepaji. I also want to express my gratitude to our team of SGCCI, and they worked so nicely. हम प्रभावित नहीं हैं, हम आपके शुक्रगुजार हैं, और अगर आप ये काम को नहीं कर सकते तो हम तो कभी कर ही नहीं सकते हैं. बहुत जोरदार ताली के साथ हमारी SGCCI की टीम.
And I'm so glad that they're clapping for everybody because एक उर्दू में एक शेर है
जी,
which says कलाकार मरते नहीं, कलाकार मरते नहीं, जिंदा दफनाए जाते हैं. कलाकार मरते नहीं, जिंदा दफनाए जाते हैं, कब्र खोलकर देख लो, तालियों के इंतजार में पाए जाते हैं.
क्या बात है, क्या बात है, क्या बात है, बहुत बढ़िया, बहुत बढ़िया. And see, on behalf of all, 3 of us, Sanjay ji, Kamlesh ji, of course our team of office bearers, Kamlesh ji, Sanjay ji, and on behalf of me, on behalf of 3 of us, I would like to express our gratitude to a team who worked with us hand in hand. They are Dr. Anil Sarawgi, Deepak Shetwala, Shailesh Desai, Bijal Jariwala. They all worked so hard to make this very successful. My gratitude to, thanks to our two past presidents who came and remained here till the end of the program, Dilip Bhai Chashmawala and Arvind Bhai Kapadia. And now I invite our Vice President, sir. It was my gratitude on.
Monal bhai already given the vote of thanks. सर जी, हमने आपसे एक बात सीख ली और हमने हमारे ट्रेजरर को 2 रिक्शा लेने का ऑर्डर भी दे दिया है कि जिस रिक्शा में बैठ के एडमिरल फोटो खिंचवा सकता है तो वो रिक्शा ही लेनी चाहिए, इसलिए 2 रिक्शा का हमने ऑर्डर दे दिया उनको। और दूसरा, मैडम आपने जो बोला जल्दी जो जाता है वो जल्दी गिरता है और जो स्लो जाता है ऊपर जाता है, थैंक्स फॉर दिस टैगलाइन। एंड as we conclude the entrepreneurs forum, the gateway to next orbit, I extend my sincere gratitude to each of you the being a part of this transformative event. Our heartfelt appreciation goes to our esteemed speakers, Sri Bharat Dabolkarji and Dr. Deepa Bhajekarji, for the sharing the invaluable insights on the growing the business through the power of the branding. Sir and Madam, your expertise has inspired us all. A special thanks to our sponsor, Vipul Saris, the well-known businessman, Vipul Saris and Anil Agarwal Group and Euro India Fresh Food India Limited, Mr. Manharbhai Saspara, for their unwavering support. Your contribution have been the instrumental in the making this event a success. I would also like to acknowledge the dedication of the organizing committee and the volunteers for their hard work behind the scenes. Lastly, thank you to the attendees, including a past president, group chairman, and committee members of the chamber for their active participation and the enthusiasm. I also thanks to press and media who are being present here. Thank you very much. Jai Hind.
I cannot forget two names, Rajesh Bhai Desai Harmony and another Desai, Chirag Desai. Thank you so very much.